Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the GameCola podcast. This is podcast number 73. That's right, PC73. With me today are Matt Jonas, Anna Bryniarski, Joseph Martin, and Jeff Nemeth. Everyone introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm Matt Jonas. I do videos and stuff. I write for GameCola occasionally whenever I remember, which reminds me, I've got to write something this month.
Hi, I'm Anna Bryniarski, and I also have to write something this month. And I have coffee.
Hi, I'm Joseph Martin, and I'm a staff writer.
I'm Jeff Nemeth. I have to write something too. And I'm a person.
Yay!
Are you really?
Yes. I'm not a goat.
It's Human Simulator being played by a goat.
Oh.
Oh man, I love Human Simulator. It's so realistic.
That's a good point.
That's what Sims is.
What about Surgeon Simulator?
Okay, I've never played that, and it looks hilarious.
While I was looking up information about Oculus Rift for the awards, I saw a bunch of Oculus Rift, like, they combined it with, like, motion controls and, like, the headset to be, like, full 3D interactive virtual reality surgeon simulator.
Alright.
Yes.
Okay then. What a great first topic.
So, maybe we should start off with what games we're playing right now.
League of Legends.
Yes, literally at this exact moment I am playing Dragon Warrior. I'm fighting a metal scorpion, and I just did 12 damage.
Was it critical?
No.
Oh.
They don't have criticals, they have, was it like an excellent blow or something like that?
You might want to rephrase that.
Why does that sound so rude? It's just the way I'm wired up, I guess.
Man, what an excellent blow.
No, it's terrific. They definitely use the word terrific. I'll probably get one eventually.
What an excellent bow. That was terrific. You're good.
But, is anyone else playing any games right now?
I am playing NES Remix right now. Well, the second one.
Well, on the
I'm playing
GameCola channel,
Sims.
I'm playing Mega Man Unlimited. Does that count?
No, that's not right now.
Oh.
I'm playing Sims.
Well, what if I'm playing that right now and recording it for the channel?
Oops. Oh, you guys made me hit run on accident.
Ah,
I was about to beat that.
Good.
I was about to beat that wolf.
I'm always doing that to people. I'm so sorry.
I'm not.
Making them run when they don't want to. You know, they see me and they just go, oh, no, gotta run.
That guy.
Thou art asleep. Thou art still asleep. I
don't know why that's so funny, but it just is.
I need to wake up.
I don't know why they decided to translate this in like ye olde English. Like,
Wait,
Is that how we're doing the rest of the
you were
podcast?
speaking English.
well, okay, because it's like thou hast done well in defeating the metal scorpion. Hold on. A wolf draws near. Command. Jetty attacks. The wolf's hit points have been reduced by 12. The wolf attacks. Thy hit points decrease by 4.
That just
Alright.
sounds like it would get annoying very quickly.
Thou hast done well in
Yeah.
defeating the wolf. Thy experience increases by 16. Thy gold increases by 44.
Alright then.
I'm
still playing Sims.
What a fun game.
mostly just grinding. I mean, that's kind of the point of Dragon Warrior, but
Again, that just sounds crude to me.
I actually just got a EarthBound on my iPad from an emulator, because I didn't know you could get emulators on iOS devices, and now I'm really happy.
Is that through jailbreak, or is there actually an app on the store to do that?
It's not an app on the store, you have to find it through internet browser on the iPad, but you can get one for
You can play it in browser. That's cool.
not,
You have
it's not,
emulators on the Android network.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't play it through the browser, you play it
Oh.
you have to download an app from the browser, and then you can look up ROMs, and it's pretty cool.
Oh.
Interesting. I might have to look into that.
Courage and wit have served thee well. Thou hast been promoted to the next level. Thy power increases by 5. Thy response speed increases by 4. Thy maximum hit points increase by 8. Thy maximum magic points increase by 9. So I just wanted to fill you in. on the
Yay.
latest.
Thy mind has slowly been whittled away.
We do have a couple of emails, so let's start off.
Oh my god, wait, do?
Are we jumping straight into the questions already?
Or emails!
Hold on. Okay.
Are we supposed to sing the Blues Clues one? Here's the mail, it never fails.
Makes me want to wag
Even
my
though it
tail.
fails all the tail. It fails all the time.
My coffee is gone and now I'm sad.
Where did it go?
That means get more coffee.
I drank it all. And I'm not about to go get more coffee because that would require me actually leaving my building again. And I think twice is enough for today.
But it's coffee.
That's true. But I also don't need more coffee, especially
I
since
don't drink
have...
coffee anyway.
I drink coffee because college.
I started drinking coffee in my last year of university. I just thought, wouldn't it be great if I took up coffee? Bad idea, trust me. Bad idea.
The only reason is because I have to wake up early because my schedule hates me, and that's the only time my classes can be scheduled is early. And I also have to use a lot of money from my meal plan, so getting coffee is the best way to do it.
I remember one semester, like I live like a 45-minute drive from the university I was going to, and the only schedule that I could really get for that semester was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Tuesday, like, it was like there was a Monday, Wednesday class, and then I had like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with the Friday lab that were all at like 8:45 in the morning. And then,
Ooh.
and then I had like a Tuesday night class that was at like 6:30 p.m. And those were my only classes that day. And it's one of those where like, do I want to go like drive home at 11 and then come back for the 6:30, or do I just want to stay at school?
That's the reason I didn't go to the Cleveland State, because I only live half an hour away from Cleveland State.
Yeah.
So that would have been annoying. So now I only live 90 minutes away from home.
So anyway, about those emails.
Oh, okay. So we got
Totally got off.
I'm glad I'm the only one who
Thanks for
can get us
putting it
back on
on
topic.
track. Yeah, that was good.
we got one from Simon Jenner. It says, my previous email. Hello, I have emailed you earlier without a response. I wonder why you have not responded to my email. In my first email, I mentioned about a late customer whose relatives I cannot get in touch with. It is unfortunate that we are unable to find the relatives to this customer. I am Dr. Simon Jenner, a staff of UBS Investment Bank London. I have a confidential business proposal for you. This mail is written and intended to solicit your assistance as follows. I think this sounds pretty legit, guys. What do you think?
Yep, leans legit.
I'm sold on it.
I will need to reconfirm your full name and address, also contact telephone number to ascertain the fact that I am dealing with the right person.
You're not.
Actually, we do have a legitimate email. Are you ready for this one?
Good. Yeah.
This one's from Dana, and it says,
That sounds legit.
It says, talk about me.
Okay. Hi, Dana.
Hey, Dana.
Talk about me, please. I'm having trouble with some game. It can't be beat. Please help. Sent from Dana's iPad only.
There's just one problem here. There is no Dana, only Zool.
Funny because they actually get it for
But
once.
now we have the real question, what game is she talking about? It could be Dark Souls 2, or Dark Souls 3,
Could
or
be
Dark
anything.
Souls 4, or Dark Souls 5, or Frozen, the video game.
Actually,
There's like one game for Frozen.
I was just looking up some new search terms for be careful what you search for. And there are so many that are searching for like, hold on, what was the exact term? I think I posted that in the one full of really long ones. Give me a second. No, okay. Dark Souls hack and slash, not RPG, no story, no memorable characters. Somebody searched for that and got to GameCola. And I just regularly see in the searches like, Dark Souls bad game. Like, why is Dark Souls so bad? Like,
Apparently we know the answer. Isn't that's the game where you die all the time, right?
I think
My friend
so.
has it.
All I heard was something about hamsters, and I'm kind of intrigued.
Wait, what?
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 Let's go back to talking about Dana.
Hi, Dana. Please tell
How's
us what game you're having trouble with. We might actually talk about it if you tell us which one it is.
Yeah, just type it in the comments below. We'll edit the podcast later.
Right
Put
now.
our discussion at the end.
Yep. Thank you, Simon and Dana, for your lovely emails. Are there any more emails?
That was it. I'm sorry.
Boo.
Okay, so
Great.
that's been a
I
rather
should send an
remarkable
email.
podcast.
Yay!
I think we all learned something valuable and important today. I forget.
Video games.
Things.
Video games.
My friend actually asked me because I went to get dinner with him. He was like, "What's the podcast about?" I just said video games. He's like, "Really? Thanks."
I just remembered because I had a good idea for a topic, and I just remembered what it was.
Okay.
Discussion about the Super Smash Bros. 4 game and all the new characters being released.
I'm excited.
Yes.
Opinions are.
Get it?
Very, very, very excited about this.
Oh, good. You could start this off.
Alright, so we had that Nintendo Direct, about 2 weeks ago? Where Nintendo revealed a bunch of characters that they should have already said were in Smash Brothers but left us hanging about. Yoshi, Zero Suit Samus, Sheik, and they also introduced a couple of new characters that Charizard would be returning this time on his own, not tethered to the Pokemon trainer. And that you would also be able to play as the Pokemon Greninja from Pokemon X and Y. I believe that's the one he was introduced in. So they've also revealed that Yoshi is a returning character as well, and that now he stands upright on 2 feet instead of slumped over like a dinosaur. So they've basically gone and revealed all these characters and said the release date will be summer for the 3DS game and winter for the Wii U game. The following day, they released a Nintendo Direct for a game called Tomodachi Life, and I'm more excited for that than I am for Smash. But,
What is it?
that's because Tomodachi Life allows you to create versions of people you know as Miis. They live on an island, and they live out their life like a soap opera, including musical numbers and bizarre dream sequences. So
What?
immediately that in the
All right,
trailer
then.
they showed, I think it was Iwata as a Mii. He went to sleep and dreamt that there were multiple versions of himself on a crane machine, and they got dunked in red goo. This was in the trailer they showed. Oh man, awesome!
That's amazing.
But for the Smash Brothers, I mean, oh, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say, when you first described it, I thought like, so basically they took Animal Crossing and like made it with your friends.
Yeah, it's basically, I would say Animal Crossing meets, I'd like to say The Sims, but it looks like you don't really have that much control like you would in The Sims. Like, you can't make a swimming pool, then take the ladder away and watch them drown to death.
They
You
don't
can't
do
really
that in the third
do that.
one. That's the one
Oh,
I
they
have. They
do.
don't do it in Sims 3.
Oh,
They can get out now. And that's okay, what the heck is happening? Okay, because I'm playing Sims right now, and some random llama thing came to my door bearing gifts.
the one thing I remember and love about the original Sims, I think it was in the first expansion, did they call it Living It Up, I think? They introduced fireworks, and what you could do was plant the fireworks down. They were an outside item, but then build your house around the fireworks. And then you could set them off in the house, and it was much easier for setting fires than just having a rug next to the fireplace or the oven. So I used to kill a load of Sims. Fun.
The thing about the fireworks in Sims, they don't have that in Sims 3 either. That's really depressing.
Oh, no.
I'm really
How are you
sad
meant to
now.
kill Sims now?
Yeah, the use of fireworks is really dazzling.
You can electrocute them. You can, in one of the expansion packs I have, you can get
That's pretty shocking.
a Philosopher's Stone.
I'm
And you
just
can,
purposely trying it.
and
You can get the
make,
Philosopher's Stone.
You can get the Philosopher's Stone, and you can make things
Full Metal
into...
Alchemist all up in this.
Yep, you can get gold. You can make them turn into gold.
Gold Sims.
Yeah, and then they die because they've been turned into gold. And then that accidentally happened to one of mine recently, like 2 days ago. And I was trying to put it, because you can put the Sims into one of the Sims inventory, and I accidentally detonated it and blew it up.
What?
So I just stood there. I was like, what? I didn't know. I was just like, why did this happen? And then the wife was just standing there like, I'm so sorry.
So I think we were at one point discussing Smash Brothers.
Yeah, well then we got on to Dream.
Yeah, it kind of drifted away.
Tomodachi and into Sims. Okay, well, I wanted to say that I did a video ages ago on my channel where I said I don't really care so long as Sheik returns, because there was absolutely no word on Sheik returning. But now, what they've done is that the characters that had transformations, so Zelda, who would transform into Sheik, and Samus, who would transform into Zero Suit Samus, they've now got those as separate characters. So instead of having transformation moves, they have new moves added, and they're sort of balanced to make them stronger than they originally were, these alternate forms.
Okay.
So now Sheik is back as her own character, and that was something I asked for, so I'm pretty chuffed about that.
Well, it's nice to see they're checking on your wish list.
Yeah, so now all I need to do is add a Jin Kazama from Tekken, and then I'm happy.
Good luck.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
I don't know why, but when Maker Studios got bought out by Disney, I thought people were going to try and push to get PewDiePie in Kingdom Hearts.
Dude, that would be awesome.
No!
If I can have him as a party member and drown him.
Oh, okay. You saved yourself there.
I like you really, Pewds, but seriously, shut up.
I feel like we're all going to get murdered after this.
I have no...
That's okay, I'm Maker Studios too, so it's fine. I might end up in the next Kingdom Hearts. as the guy at the side who says, oh, gummy ships again.
Just in the background, whenever something bad happens, you pop up like a picture frame. Oh, not again!
Really? You're doing this again?
I can't do a British accent.
Cool. Doing this again.
So anyway,
Anyway, back on topic.
I leveled again in Dragon Warrior. I'm level 12 now.
Yay!
Yay! Well done. What'd you get?
Great podcast, everyone.
What was your buff? +1 ATK, +1 DEF.
No, I just kind of skipped through it. Like, I don't know, I've just been walking. Like, I'm walking up and down this little strip next to town, and then occasionally going back to the inn. So I'm just kind of...
Are you playing it on an actual NES, or are you playing it on an emulator?
No, I'm on an emulator.
Oh. Then you should have, like, a speed-up toggle somewhere.
Yeah, I have it mapped to the stick, actually. Because, like, it has analog sticks, my controller.
Uh-huh.
And, like, I'm not going to use them. So whenever I press right on the analog stick, it speeds up. I also have mapped to the LR buttons, turbo A and B.
I tend to have those. If I've got a controller and it's got 4 face buttons, I will have the 2 face buttons near the top as the turbo.
Oh, yeah.
And then the lower ones as the ordinary.
Yeah.
But I can't do that with Super Nintendo, so I tend not to have turbo buttons. I'm not likely to play games on Super Nintendo where I need to use turbo. It's more older consoles, things like the PC Engine or NES, where you're going to need that.
Oh, actually, I've taken an interest to the TurboGrafx recently, because I never had one, and I've only recently ever looked into what it even was. Like, I had heard the name PC Engine, I heard the name TurboGrafx, and I think I scheduled a GameCola discussion topic coming up that was TurboGrafx 16 or Neo-Geo.
Now, you see, if you're talking about specs, can we talk about this?
Yeah.
If you're talking specs, yeah. I mean, the Neo-Geo is the winner. I mean, hands down, specifications-wise.
Yeah.
Because it's an arcade machine in console form, basically.
Okay.
But both of them are as bad as each other for game saturation, because the PC Engine, almost all the games released for it were shooters.
Okay.
Bar a couple, they were all space shooters.
Okay.
You're a spaceship, ooh, asteroids, shoot them, points. And the problem with the Neo-Geo was the majority of games released for that system were fighting games.
Okay.
So, and they were mostly SNK fighting games. So they were the same game code-wise, and they just changed the characters.
Yeah.
So in terms of game saturation, both systems, I think, were really as bad as each other.
Okay.
That's not to say each system doesn't have amazing games hidden on it. Like the two Bomberman games for the PC Engine are amazing. Bomberman 93 and 94 are amazing.
Interesting.
And Neo-Geo, of course, has the arcade perfect version of Metal Slug, as well as a game called Magician Lord, which is absolutely insanely difficult. It's a side-scrolling platformer where you shoot magic spells at enemies. It's all good fun.
I don't know, like, I guess I just find it curious, like, I only ever had the Super Nintendo during that era, but I mean, of course, I knew about the Genesis. And it's just interesting to me to see that there were like all of these other systems out there. And I'm like, how did they make money? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was the other way around. I only really had the Mega Drive Genesis and the CD attachment during that time. So I didn't have experience of the Super Nintendo outside of family members or friends who had one. So when I got one in about 2005 or 6, I was all over it because, as you said, it was that curiosity. So it existed, and I never experienced it. And there's all these games here to try out. So I know exactly where you're coming from with the PC Engine. It's definitely worth checking out the games on that system. Absolutely, because there are a few absolute standout titles that I'd rather not tell you about. I'd rather you found them yourself.
Okay. Yeah, like, because also I guess part of what sparked the interest, it just all happened kind of at the same time. I was cleaning out a bunch of stuff that we have here in the house because we have, like 3 old NESs and like 2 Super Nintendos and, like all this old video game equipment. And around the same time, we were doing that podcast where we were like the best game of 2013, 2003, 93, 83, 73.
3.
Yeah, and so like around the same times, I was like looking up all these like different old games, and I was like playing on the original systems and stuff. And I was like, like what even was the PC Engine? And apparently it is still the smallest console, I guess.
Really?
Yeah, well, okay, not the TurboGrafx, but the original Japanese PC Engine.
Oh yeah.
Like it literally, like it was pretty tiny.
Smaller than the top loader NES, then.
Yeah, like hold on. If you go to, if you go to Wikipedia, you'll see a picture of it. It's like a little square. Hold on.
Awesome.
Turbo.
Because I know that they didn't really have cartridges for the PC Engine. They had what was called Hue cards that were basically like cards.
Yeah.
The cartridges were more introduced for the US, I guess, because people were more familiar with cartridges for consoles, I suppose.
Yeah, actually, and that's another interesting thing about older consoles, like why the Famicom and the Nintendo Entertainment System look so different is that they wanted to separate themselves from, quote, video games, and they wanted something that was more, an entertainment system. So they made it try to look like a VHS machine, and that's why you had the weird, like, front loader, weirdo zero insert pressure, whatever they call that thing, is because they were trying to separate themselves from the video game crash of 83 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I was waiting to see if you'd mention that, because if you didn't, I'd have thrown that in. Yeah, basically, it was poison at that time to call your system a gaming system. So,
well,
did you hear that recently in the news that they dug up one of the ET landfill sites and they actually found ET cartridges?
I did hear about that.
So, urban legend proved true.
It's just so weird, because that is like one of those urban legends that's been around so long. Like, I remember learning that one, like, in the very early days that I was getting on the internet, like 1998 or whatever. I was like, oh, so weird.
Yeah, that would have been about 2000 for me. Yeah.
And funny thing is, I actually have a working cartridge of that game. Yeah, like
Really?
box and all. The box is a little squished, but I do in fact have it.
That's a system I've never really or that would have been
The Atari 20.
that would have been Commodore, yeah,
Yeah.
Atari. I've never held, owned, or played any of the Atari systems. I mean, that's something I would love to do, but it's tracking one down
Yeah.
and getting it cheap enough. Because I mean, I've seen them up close. There's an independent game retailer near where I live who have had one in before, but it's been, do I really want to pay this much money for a machine where the majority of games will be far too primitive for me to enjoy them most of the time?
Yeah, and was it I mean, I have it because my dad got it. I actually have the 5200, not the 2600, the one that like everybody loves.
The 5200 will play all the older games,
Yes,
though, won't it?
so I have like played it, and I remember my dad playing so much Space Invaders. Like he played that one through to the point where it looped, because it gets to the last stage where they're all invisible, and then it just starts at level 1 again. But no, we do have the copy of E.T. and a working 5200. Just the weird thing is, it was back in that era before cable, so it hooks up to the like antenna receiver. So like you need a TV with an antenna receiver, or you need a converter.
Oh, so a TV with RF then, RF input.
Yeah, well, like not a cable. Like the only TVs we have in this house only accept like the cable input, but there's a weird like 2-prong thing that you're supposed to attach an actual antenna to.
What?
Yeah, and like it just has 2 little screws, and this is what you're supposed to like plug the thing into.
That's just ridiculous though. Like I don't want to get one now because it sounds like it's going to be awkward to set it up.
Yeah, actually I googled Atari 5200, and one of the things that comes up after I scroll down a bit is a little converter that allows you to plug a cable thing into it. So anyway, the TurboGrafx. Like who owned this that kept these people afloat?
There was someone who that guy who had that website and podcast about being a turtle, who was on GameCola ages ago.
Turtle Calls.
His sister had a TurboGrafx. I don't know how I just managed to pull that out of the ether, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So she was the one person who kept the TurboGrafx company.
Yes, the one person.
And it's weird.
I think he was the one who had the Mega Drive Genesis, and then his brother had the Super Nintendo. Oh, it was somewhere around. I honestly don't know. That was a podcast I was on several years ago.
That was like 2 years ago.
I do vaguely recall that, actually. Now, I also do find it interesting that like Hudson Soft had something to do with the TurboGrafx.
Yes, they co-developed it, I believe. That's why there's so many Hudson Soft games on it.
Yeah, because like Hudson Soft, all I remember was like old, what was it, like Adventure Island and stuff. Was
Adventure Island and Bomberman really were their big ones.
Bomberman.
I have a Hudson Soft GameCube game, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know which one it is. But I remember seeing the Hudson
Probably
Soft
Mario
game.
Party.
Yeah,
they started making the Mario Party games after a while, didn't they? They moved on to
that
being.
Would be it then.
I guess they must have stopped around about the time Konami bought Hudson, I suppose.
Oh yeah, Konami.
I don't even know what's going on now with Hudson and Hudson Games, because I was big on the Bloody Raw series, and I've really gotten into it in the past few years, but absolutely no word now on any more Bloody Raw games. It's almost depressing in a way to think that series is over when it's pretty awesome, because A-Ting, the company who developed those games, was part of Hudson. So Hudson gets bought by Konami, no more Bloody Raw games. Or no more Bloody
Sure you can, if you put
games.
the Konami code in certain games.
Sorry?
Just put the Konami code in certain games.
You can, for a lot of web browsers, a lot of websites, the Konami code works.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Did you know this?
I'd heard that before.
It's pretty cool, actually. There's a Twitter feed dedicated to websites that the Konami Code works on.
That's cool.
But for
I feel
some
like
of them,
that
it
ruins
just
the
like
fun. I feel like you need to like just try it randomly on every website and see what happens. What's start?
Enter.
Or do you not have to start?
I think it's enter. When websites use the start, I think it's enter. But it tends to just be up, down, left, right, BA, and that tends to trigger it on most sites.
Right, because there's like argument over is start technically part of the Konami Code, or
well,
Oh yeah.
because like most people,
some starts the game. But some people say select start because of course it's the two-player.
Yeah. That one always is how I remembered it, is with select start. But that was because I had a brother. So.
Well, also Kirby Crackle for their song, I think it's called up, down, left, right, BA, select start. They used the select start for it. That's a good song.
Oh, sorry, like a weird name for a thing just reminded me. Are any of you fans of EarthBound?
Earth what?
Hi.
I have tried so many times to get into that game. I think I just haven't been in the right mindset.
Sorry, I prefer Marsbound or Moonbound.
Because I recently posted on my Tumblr one of my favorite things. Does anyone know who Hyadain is?
Is this someone in EarthBound?
No, he's like a popular, like, he does a lot of anime openings and stuff, and a while back...
Oh, wait, Hyadain, did you
say?
say?
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Yes, he did that Street Fighter song, didn't he?
Yes.
Made using the game sound files.
Yes.
That was awesome. He does all the voices himself, including the female voices, which is pretty frightening in some cases because of how right they sound.
No, okay, because see, that's how I got into him, is that I'd been searching for like video game songs on YouTube like years ago, and I stumbled across a bunch of his like stuff that he made. And I guess after that he got like really ridiculously popular, and then he started producing like tunes that then ended up being anime openings, and now he's like...
What, really?
Yeah, like
Wow.
he's done like a bunch of anime openings now. It's weird. But okay.
Good on him.
Yeah,
Good on
like
him.
it's cool. And okay, there's another guy, Professor Sakamoto, who does like live shows playing video game music, I guess. And the
Mr. Sakamoto, would that be Ryuichi Sakamoto? Or
no,
am I thinking of a different Sakamoto?
No. Okay, this is a different guy. Like he just goes like he literally just goes by the name Professor Sakamoto. And
all right, fair enough.
If you knew him, you would know because he wears like a cape and a mask and a Famicom on his head.
God bless the Japanese.
Now, okay, so the two of them got together and they got Keiichi Suzuki and Hirokazu Tanaka from Mother, like the two composers who did the music for Mother and EarthBound. They got them, and they did a live show, plus Makinomiya from Pizzicato 5, and they all did a live show of the music from EarthBound.
Whoa.
Yeah, and...
Is this like on YouTube?
Yeah, hold on here. Let me send you a link, because I recently made a post about this. There was a reason why I brought this up. What were we talking about before this?
EarthBound?
No, before...
Before EarthBound?
Alright, you can't click on the link, can you?
No, I'll get it later.
Jay, just rewind the podcast.
Anyway.
Rewind the podcast.
Just rewind the podcast and listen to what we said.
Actually, I can do that. Hold on. I can go and I can I can copy the file over while it's being written.
We'll remember.
This sounds incredibly risky.
No, I just have to copy the file away from where it's being written currently, and then listen to it.
That sounds incredibly risky.
Hold on, I'm doing it.
I see the guy with the Famicom on his head.
Sorry, I need. It's going to be very confusing if you guys talk because you're also talking.
What about not supposed to be talking?
Hold on.
I started playing
this was a
Kirby's Dream Land 3.
This is so confusing. You're talking about the Konami Code.
I've moved on to Kirby's Dream Land 3.
Oh, okay, sorry, okay, now I remember. Okay.
All right.
We had been talking about up, down, left, right, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
as the name of a song. And I'm listening to this show in Japanese, and like I can understand like half of it, but all I keep hearing is every once in a while they'll say 2011-20102 something, and I'm like, what are they saying? Why are 2011-2012?
Well, that immediately sounds like a Konami Code-ish pattern, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
and I had to look it up. Apparently, Hirain had just released an album called 2011-2012, except that he pronounces it 2011-2012.
Oh,
And so,
wow.
like, I'm just hearing them talking in the 2011-2012, and I'm like, what is being said? Like, so I just like the concept of naming something incredibly complex.
Just
You mean
naming
like
something.
most games coming out of Japan at the moment?
Oh,
Bravely Default Flying Fairy, Duodecim 012 Final Fantasy,
yeah, well, what is... Oh,
Dissidia.
yeah,
What
dude.
the
I feel
hell?
like before it was usually like the localization team had a lot of freedom and they would just kind of name what they thought the game would be good as a name in America, and now they've been held to a standard of trying to accurately translate the name. But the problem is that in Japanese you can fit a lot more words in a lot less space.
It's kind
So
of...
what I'm sure, like what the Bravely Default blah 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 doesn't really seem like that much of a mouthful in Japanese. It's incredibly
Actually,
like
It sounds like a mouthful in Japanese to me. Bravely
yeah,
Default Flying
like
Fairy.
that
Sounds like a bit of a mouthful.
that is the thing, is that like Bravely Default isn't like, two or three Japanese words. It is literally the English name written in Japanese, which, like he said,
oh yeah.
translates to, yeah, Bravely Defaulto Flying Fairy.
Okay, so it's not
It is a mouthful, that name.
okay.
Whatever language you're saying it in, it's a mouthful.
I thought it might be in kanji and not katakana.
Yeah, no, it literally is like a 30 character like katakana.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just silly. But I don't know. Maybe it's. I would imagine that it's because in like everything, it seems like all of the games have some sort of subtitle. Like all the Mega Man games have like a subtitle. I know.
Yes.
I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but after the second one, it's always like Rockman 2, Wily's Revenge, Rockman 2, The Fight Against Gamma, or something like that. So it's like, so I'm guessing that something about the culture or whatever, or precedence or whatever, makes it so that it's not that weird for it to have a really long name.
Yeah.
But if you directly translate it, then it's gonna sound weird. We have games like Mario 64. That's the end.
Yeah.
Or like, and we'll even shorten like games. Like I know there's Kirby and the Crystal Shards, and I know a lot of people just call that Kirby 64, even though there's no. I don't know if 64 is even in the title.
Hold on. I got
I think it's in the Japanese game's
got the
title.
game.
I think
Somewhere.
I think it might have like the 64 logo on it. But
I got the
think
game
official
somewhere
name
here.
is Kirby and the Crystal Shards. A lot of people would just call it Kirby 64.
Bear with me.
No.
I got it somewhere.
I'm kind of jealous you've got the game, to be honest.
I
'Cause, I mean, it's not an easy card to get hold of.
I have a friend with it too.
I will find it.
Cool. There's always something about playing something on the original, like in the original medium.
Let's see here. Let's see. Rampage, Lego Racers, Beast Wars, Pokemon Stadium, Mario Kart 64. Nope.
I have just discovered something really disturbing in Kirby's Dream Land 3. You know those like Moai statues called Kabun?
Yeah.
There's giant versions of them that spit out smaller ones.
What's the deal with
weird.
what was
All right,
the
I
deal with
found it.
Moai statues at that time period? Because they're like in Gradius, they're in Super Mario Land, and they're in Kirby.
They're all over Konami games. It's weird.
But it's not. Konami didn't make those, did they? Or
Well,
have a
no, but they really like used them a lot. Like as you said in Gradius and in Parodius as well, which was of course a parody of Gradius.
I found
Okay.
Crystal Shards.
Does it have
And
64?
Yeah, it says Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh, we learned something new.
You know what's? I don't know. Maybe someone could prove me wrong on this, but you know how so there's so the NES was just normal, things were just called their normal names, and then when you got to the SNES, they would put Super in front of it.
Yeah.
So instead of Mario Bros, it was Super Mario Bros.
Well, they did. It was Super Mario Bros. originally.
It was Super Mario Bros. on the NES.
But they did put Super in front of a lot of games.
Maybe
right?
they put Super Mario Bros.
There were definitely
Super Nintendo.
a lot more Super games. Like there were a few that were copying off of Super Mario Bros, but there were definitely way more Super games on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the 64, it was like Super Mario 64, Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Like that. Then with Wii, you've got New Super Mario Brothers Wii. They just put Wii at the end. It's not very creative. And then
I definitely think there's less games with the console name Wii in them on Wii, but there are a lot more games with puns, like with the word Wii, W-E.
Like Wii Play.
Quite a lot of those.
Yeah.
They're like We Play, We Cheer.
We got a game. It was called. We rented it. It was called Wii Ski, but I don't think it was made by Nintendo. So they spelled it like the actual pronoun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just called Wii Ski, but it was W-E because I guess they couldn't.
They were actually. It was actually someone trying to say the word risky. It's like, I don't know. Releasing this game might be a bit whiskey. What a great idea, whiskey.
For some reason,
Anyway.
I'm having deja vu about this.
Like this conversation.
How come?
I don't know. Well, like I'm scrolling through and I'm looking at all the games that are named Super in my SNES ROM list, and like hearing us talk about whiskey, I don't know why this is.
Oh, you had deja vu.
Yeah. That's what I was just saying. Well, I didn't
Interesting.
mean that I literally had the game deja vu. I meant that I was having a case.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, the
Yeah.
point I was going towards was there one of those things for the GameCube? Because I can't really think of any. I think the
Super
GameCube
Mario
kind of,
Cube.
I
feel like there
think
wasn't.
they did.
There was Zoo Cube, I think.
Was there? I never had.
But
I
it
never
wasn't
actually
like
had
a
one, but-
thing.
That's a good
I
point.
can't really think of very
There
many.
was
Like it
Zoo
wasn't-
Cube, Cubivore. I mean, there were a couple, but it wasn't as widely used as a naming method.
And it sounds like those are like offshore.
Definitely
third-party games.
weird games. Yeah, definitely weird third-party games.
Whereas in the other situations, they're usually adopted by the leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, I am currently going around collecting parts of R.O.B, the robot, but as Kirby. This game is weird.
Oh, actually, okay.
This is-
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. This is Kirby's Dream Land 3, is what you said?
Yeah, Kirby's Dream Land 3.
Okay, so on one of the GameCola discussion topics, like a couple of weeks ago, that's right, it was the one about what was the game that came out in your birth year. Did anyone see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Paul said Super Mario Bros. And then Christian commented with a link saying basically they don't know the exact date that it came out, but this guy tried like doing as much research as humanly possible and like asking the like president of Nintendo at the time and stuff like that, like looking up, or president of Nintendo America, if he could remember in like 1986 or was it 1985, like when was it, and then like looking at someone's like memoirs or something, and they were like, yeah, I remember that it was the same week that Yul Brynner died, and just like putting together all these dates to try to figure out when.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing that caught my eye, because you were saying picking up parts of R.O.B, that like apparently after the like huge Nintendo launch, they had some like crazy wild party at a club with like a giant silver shining R.O.B. Like,
What?
yeah, and I was like,
This sounds like some kind of crazy cult initiation thing, to be honest.
how do you, like, it's just so weird because at the same time that they're discussing how Nintendo at the time was, like, run out of, like, a warehouse in New Jersey or something, and then they turn around and say that they had enough money to set up, like, a crazy party at a club with giant R.O.Bs and then, like, other smaller, like, golden R.O.Bs around or something like that.
Wow.
Like, what even... Is this reality? Like, is this real life?
How much would you have to pay? What kind of favors would you have to do to get hold of one of those golden ROBs now? I reckon they've all been melted down.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't imagine they were real gold, but
Probably not, but still, like, Nintendo probably pawned them a while ago when they're like, oh, we made a loss again.
well, it's like
Okay, we're gonna have to sell our golden ROBs.
the curse of the golden ROB. Like,
It's like there's some guy standing by a vault, and he's grown all sentimental to them, but then he gets the call, and he's like, I knew this day would come.
well, I'm also picturing, the Indiana Jones opening, but with a golden ROB on like a little pedestal. Like, he's weighing some Nintendo cartridges, about to swap it out.
I'm actually looking up stuff that happened in my birth year. In video gaming, and EarthBound was localized for U.S. audiences in 1995.
Wow.
I remember the closest thing that happened to my birthday was, I think the first Resident Evil came out.
I didn't get anything
Closest.
on my birthday, but the month after.
Mine was a couple days after.
Yeah, for me, the Famicom disk drive came out a month after my birthday.
3 days
I don't know
after
why,
I
but
was
that's
born.
mildly amusing.
Thank you. What were you saying, Anna?
3 days after I was born, Mortal Kombat 3 came out in arcades.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I'm going to see if anything happened in my birth month and year in gaming. Because I'm pretty sure nothing happened on my birthday.
FDR died 50 years before I was born, like on my birthday.
I'm pretty sure the Nintendo 64 came out decently close to my birthday, because it was in 1996, right?
Yeah, it came out in 96.
Yeah, so it was around then.
They don't really mention months much in this article.
Yeah.
Like, they only ever start from February. I was born in January. It sounds like nothing happened in January 1990.
I don't think a lot of games come out in January.
But, my birth year was the year of Snake's Revenge.
Oh.
I'm just happy that it was the year the Sega Mega Drive was released in Europe.
Oh.
Although that was much later in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. I mean, nothing really happened in my birth year. Mega Man 3 and the original Final Fantasy. Yeah.
I had a bunch of like really good Japanese releases, like Metroid and stuff, I think came out.
Wow.
86.
Dude, there's no way you sound 86.
No? Hold on. Okay, hold on. I went to 1986 in video gaming. It says, a bunch of games that were popular in Japan that no one knows. February 21st is not only the Famicom Disk System, but The Legend of Zelda.
Oh, nice.
Dragon Quest, Metroid, some other games. Hold on. Akumajo Dracula, or Castlevania.
Castlevania, yeah.
And Arkanoid. Oh, and Bubble Bobble. And Kid Icarus.
No one cares about Kid Icarus.
The mid '80s are kind of cheating, because that's like when everything came out. Most of the stuff that's stuck with us. Are
you accusing Jedi of cheating
Yes.
because he was born
Yes.
in the
Cheater.
80s?
Cheater.
Speaking of cheating, I have news from Sony. I have to leave. They have summoned me.
You have to return to your home
What?
planet?
Okay.
Yes.
You've been summoned
You
by
weren't supposed to
Sony.
say that. It was supposed to be secret.
You were the
I'm
one.
legally cheating right now.
Oh, because you're not supposed to. Actually, Kate J had to leave because of that. She has signed a non-competition agreement with her current company, and so she can no longer be on GameCola.
Aww.
So currently, Jeff is apparently breaking his contract.
Hey, I'm not leaving for something else. My brother just wants to play League.
Yawn.
Alright, League is fun.
I've never bothered to try or even attempt to play a MOBA, but if I do, I'd probably gravitate towards Dead Island Epidemic, I think it's called, Dead Island Extinction. I don't know.
All I know
just
is that
because I've got the beta invites for that, for owning both Dead Island games, I was given a bunch of invites.
All I know is that if you're gonna, well, maybe if it's something that's starting, then it's okay. But if you're gonna get into an established MOBA, usually you want to do it with like a group of people who know what they're doing. Because if you try to do it like random matches, most of the time you'll
I just get crushed by this point because everybody knows what they're doing.
Complain about the fact that you haven't played the game before.
Ooh. I completely skipped over this. Super Mario Brothers 3 was released in North America in my birth year. That's good then. We've got at least one, that's okay. At least one good game. There's murmurings of Commander Keen in here as well, which is cool, but yeah, Mario 3 is where it's at.
Mega Man's 87.
Yeah.
Because it was 87, 88. Isn't it 87, 88, 90?
I don't remember.
Yeah, Mega Man 3 was 990 because it was on...
I only know because in Mega Man 10 they show the list of all the games and their release date, the release years. So it's like Mega Man 1, 87, Mega Man 2, 88, Mega Man 3, 90, and then I think it goes 91. Does it go 91, then 93, then 94?
I don't have a list of them here.
We don't have...
I'm currently looking down 86 and being jealous of what was released on Jeff's birth year.
So,
dude, the original Outrun, man. Outrun.
10 years ago, a game named Painkiller came out on April 12th, 2004. That seems to be the only video game release I can find that happened on my birthday.
Let me check on my birthday.
Oh, maybe there actually was a game released on my actual birthday one of these years. I'll have a look. That's a good suggestion, actually. Because I'm curious. Whatever game it is, I'll now make it a huge feature on my YouTube channel. Screw it.
Video games.
Yay. Also,
Monster
Disney
Hunter
Open
3 Ultimate was released on my birthday.
What,
Nice.
sorry?
Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate was released on my birthday last year.
Oh, yes, of course. I totally forgot about this. This year, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance got its PC release on my birthday. Completely forgot about that. I remember buying it and preloading it ready so I could play it on my birthday. I remember now. That's like the first one that came up in the Google.
Nothing usually happens on my birthday, unless it's Easter.
Ooh, here. Oh, Metroid. Okay, so Super Metroid was released in Japan on my birthday in 1994, so it wasn't my birthday yet, I guess, technically.
It was one of your minus birthdays.
No, I was -2. I think that might be it. I could have sworn Ruby and Sapphire came out, and there was something weird about it. And every time it's Ruby and Sapphire's birthday, it's on a day, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's interesting about its day. I don't know.
But you don't know what it is that's interesting. You just know it's interesting.
I just remember that it was interesting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because it was released on my birthday.
Nice. I have now turned off the Wii U and I am moving to PlayStation Portable. Because I've gotten bored of Wii U. This happens more or less every time I play.
Well, Wii U is really designed around that local multiplayer thing.
Or at the very least, the off-screen play on the gamepad, I suppose.
Yeah. It works really well for that. Alone play.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't... I haven't run into anything that really adds that much.
Okay, I don't have any cool games on my PSP. Speaking of all this Mega Man talk, Mega Man Powered Up, why not?
I haven't played it.
It's really cute, but the problem is it's also fairly easy as well, because it's basically Mega Man for babies.
Which kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, I mean, you can play the original NES stages in it, but it's still sort of easy. There's difficulty levels, and basically the hard difficulty level is what would be ordinary Mega Man difficulty.
What do they change? Do they actually change things, or do they?
Absolutely. There's 2 new bosses.
Okay.
And in general,
I mean
you
with the
seem to take
levels.
you take a lot less damage and you deal a lot more damage.
Okay, so that's just damage scaling.
Yeah, pretty
See,
much.
I don't know. Maybe in certain things that's okay, but I feel like if you're gonna have a difficulty level, it should be more than just damage skill.
Oh yeah,
Or, which is
absolutely.
even worse, is like, oh, you only have 3 lives instead of 5.
Yeah.
That's hard
Yeah,
mode.
for me, for difficulty, I like it when it's handled like the old PC shooters like Doom. What they'd do is they'd say, okay, we are going to reduce some of the ammo and we are going to reduce the health items, but what we're also going to do is change what enemies appear and where they appear.
Yeah, you can do.
So
Yeah,
it
you can do
so
the
it was
scaling.
more of an actual, yeah, it was more of a challenge of skill as opposed to artificial difficulty, which I absolutely hate, which is, okay, we're going to knock your lives down to 3. Oh, and when you restart, you start from the start of the stage. It's like, that's not really real difficulty, that's artificial difficulty.
It's not real challenge. It's just
Yeah, it's more
tedious.
infuriating, yeah.
Tedious, or like a game that's just tedious instead of difficult. Like ones that make you start all the way at the beginning.
Mega Man Powered Up is so dreadful, I've already turned it off. I'm now staring at a TV that says no signal. This is good. Progress.
Has anyone bought any video games recently? I feel like we should talk.
Well, apart from NES Remix 2, which came out this week, no.
I was
I
on NES
haven't.
Remix too. Did we already talk about that?
I talked about it in brief. It's basically they take parts of NES games, chop them out, and base challenges around them. Like, how quickly can you beat this level? Collect 50 coins as fast as you can. Defeat this enemy without taking damage, that sort of thing. But then they have these remix stages which take apart the game and change it. For example, they'll have a level where the foreground keeps disappearing, or you'll have a level where it puts a different character in the wrong game. So it's sort of like a mixture of these are legitimate challenges that help to increase your skill at old games, and then there's other challenges that are just actually we're just going insane here. Let's just throw everything in. The punch out challenges were quite good because they were based more around teaching you the strategies. So I feel like if I played the original Punch Out now, I would have a much better idea how to play it, which is why I much prefer the second NES Remix game over the first one. Because the first one had Super Mario Brothers and the original Legend of Zelda. Those were the two best games in it. It then had games like Pinball, Ice Climbers, games that just didn't interest me at all. But NES Remix 2 has Punch Out, Zelda 2, Mario 2 and 3, Mario Lost Levels, so there's actually some decent challenge in there. It has, what other ones that really stand out? Metroid as well, and Kirby's Adventure. So you've got all these games that are actually a lot more complicated, and therefore they can have much tougher challenges based around them than these older games that would just get to so many points, which is what the old challenges basically were in the first NES Remix.
Video games.
Did I bore people? Did they turn off?
I just haven't played the game, so.
Did they Control W their browser? They've left.
What does Control W do again? I was gonna test it and then I was like,
think
wait.
it closes your window.
Okay. I've got some stuff open. I'm not sure I want to do that.
Don't
I haven't
try it.
bought
Don't
any
try it.
games recently, but I added to my Steam wish list, and I don't even really know what some of these games are about, so I just kind of added them.
You've added them to your wish list, even though you don't know whether you really want them or not.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because
I find I've got way too many games on my Steam list. Like I'm over 250 now, and I play maybe 12% of them.
That's what my friend did. I looked at his library. I was like, oh, okay. How many of these have you played? And he's like, not that many. I'm like, all right then. He's just like, I have a problem. Like, I can see that.
Recently, there was a website that built a generator whereby you give it your Steam name, and it tells you exactly what percentage of your Steam library you've played, how many games you've played for more than an hour, and how much your account is actually worth, judging by the current prices for things on the store. And my account is worth about $2,500, which, you know, is cool, but it's also full of games that I don't play, that I got off humble
what the name
bundles.
of the website is called?
I don't know, but if you, I would say Google Steam game calculator, and that'll probably get it up.
I've played
Steam
17 minutes of
calculator.
Dear Esther.
Over here.
I tried playing Dear Esther.
You don't play it, you walk around. That is all you do.
Well, yeah, I think it was. I'm trying to play this. Maybe I have the wrong mindset here because I just kept walking into the ocean. It's like, I have had enough of this.
It was like $1 or something, so I bought it. I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Just
The
walk
hills
around.
were like somnambulists looking into the deep and dark blue sky as I walked slowly. Yes, 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 yes. Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up. I held down the W key and moved forward slowly. Yes, 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 I know. I'm the one doing it. You don't have to tell me what I'm doing.
I thought maybe it was a puzzle game or something. I'm like, oh, maybe there are puzzles I have to solve later, maybe. Then it's just like, nope, just walking around an island.
It's whole W the game, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's why I've never returned to it. It's just like, oh dear.
I have put 8 hours into Scribblenauts, though.
Scribblenauts, would that be unlimited, the PC one, is it?
Yeah.
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 It is the PC one.
I've had a look at that one. It has Steam Workshop support. That does make me interested, just in all the different custom words that people are adding to the game.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if the original 151 Pokemon are on the Steam Workshop, probably.
Oh, I'm sure all of them are in some capacity.
I bought it for my sister because she kept asking me to, and she's played it a lot too. She, for Christmas actually, she was just like, can you get me this? I'm like, no, I'm not getting you this. And then she's like, please? I'm like, fine. She didn't get me anything, so I'm kind of upset. She doesn't listen to the podcast, so she won't know that I'm mad at her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the great thing about podcast is you can vent about all the people you know won't be listening to it.
I played the first two Scribblenauts, and they were okay. The first one was less fun because they insisted that you use the touch screen to move instead of using
the controls are dreadful. The first one.
Yeah, and the second one, they're still not great, but you can move and not have to walk over here with click that item, which are the same thing if they're close enough. And it's a lot more precise.
I played the iPad, the iOS Scribblenauts. That was the first one I really got into. That one is fantastic because I'm pretty sure you've got adjectives in that one, so you can go, I want a giant blue translucent spooky cute ladder, and it'll give you a ladder that's blue and it's got like a horror mask on it and it's sparkling.
And people will be like afraid of it. Like if someone's walking around, they'll be like, ah.
That's what I enjoyed the best about it.
That's the equivalent of the second one because the first one didn't have adjectives.
Yeah, I like the adjectives. It makes the game more fun.
It's like, this bridge isn't big enough. I want a big, gigantic, large bridge, please.
It was colossal. Colossal was the biggest you could get.
I would like a tiny, pink, friendly Cthulhu. Here you go.
Well, no, what I figured out is you can click on things to figure out like what adjectives and nouns and stuff it is. So what I did is I made I think it was like a growth ray or something, like the opposite of a shrink ray. And I would shoot an item as many times as it would let me until it stopped growing, and then I clicked on it and it said colossal. So that's the biggest thing you can get, because they have like different, like large is bigger than big, and giant is bigger than large. They had different scales of bigness.
I didn't realize colossal was an adjective. That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't mean like the word colossal is an adjective. Of course it is. I meant like one that you could use in the game.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
Yeah, it's if you want the biggest
Englished
thing.
I English well.
I always thought colossal was a verb. You know, I colossal, you colossi.
Yep, that's it.
They colossi. Right? It was Latin for doing things in a very large way.
You guys were talking about some game where you walk around a lot?
Yeah.
What was it?
Dear Esther.
Okay, because I was trying to get an idea of how much to sell my own game for. And so I was looking at the games that are on Desera, and I came up with Walk. And it's a free game. It's a free game, luckily. I didn't watch the video, but all I see is a bunch of like very blue like scenery. I'm guessing that you walk. It says a simple exploration game with a beautiful visual style and atmosphere with simple intuitive controls. Your only real objective is to find the darkly colored sphere. Look for planets orbiting it and the dark sparks it emits. Although you don't have to look for it, you can just walk around, listen to the peaceful music, and soak up the wonderful atmosphere.
Oh, wait.
This
Have I
sounds
seen
like
this before?
homework.
Have I seen this before?
I don't know if you have.
No, wait, no, I haven't seen
Yeah, it
this.
looks like something I could do.
I'm
when
watching
I
the
get-
video, and it's just like grass and hills with calm music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a dark sphere, as
I'm fast
We don't
forwarding.
really
I'm
have
not
to
seeing
pay
any
attention
dark
to it
sphere.
or anything.
you and the sphere are randomly placed around the world, so each playthrough is different.
Oh wait, here I found it.
Did you find
You guys
you found the
found it.
sphere?
Well, I think you found the stuff shooting. It goes like in and out of focus.
Yeah, it is a little weird.
Yeah.
That looks like it would hurt my head.
Yeah.
Well,
I
where's
don't
it
think I
going?
can play for
Well,
long.
I wonder if there's a control for focus.
Maybe.
Oh, hold on. I like that. I
Ugh,
like that the
this is
second
giving me a headache.
the second comment in says there should be an option to disable the focus effect.
But the focus effect is his livelihood. He spent so many hours working on it. The focus effect is something his family has passed down for generations. You're asking him just to remove it? What's wrong with you?
Does something happen if you get the
People
sphere,
these
or is it...
days.
Actually, I do want to say I was looking at a game on Steam that somebody said, "Hey, you should go look at this and like, upvote it or whatever for Steam Greenlight." And it just bugs me the number of people who vote on things on Steam Greenlight who think they're entitled to tell the people how to make the game. Like, especially when the game is like done or almost completely done. And they're like, so I played the demo, or like I watched the video, and I mean, it looks pretty cool, but I think you should have a darker atmosphere, and I think it would be really cool if the gun, instead of doing what it does in the video, if it would work more like this. I'm like, it's their game. Go make your own game. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's the line between personal preference and actual like objective improvement.
Yeah.
Like, because in certain points there could be like, you could have a game where it's like, hey, these colors are like you might run into a person who's like, hey, you accidentally made this game so that people who are red green colorblind can't tell anything apart.
Yeah.
So you might want to fix that. And that's one thing.
Yeah, but like I watched.
Like if you made your entire game based on the differences between the colors red and green,
Well,
you might have
just the game looked like it was pretty well complete, and the suggestions that they were saying weren't like, it could be a little more fast paced or like something. It was like, I think
That sounds like something where they'd have to undo
yeah,
huge chunks of the game just to make those changes.
yeah,
For one person.
yeah, and they were stupid
Yeah.
things like, I think it should have a darker atmosphere. Like, who cares what you think? Go find a different game then. Like,
I even think to a certain extent the people who say if they kickstarted a game and it didn't have quite the atmosphere they wanted, even then I think, no, you don't really have to bend over backwards for them if what's being made was described in the first place.
Yeah, the duty of a Kickstarter is to provide what they said they would provide.
And if they provided
not-
it and then the person says, oh, the atmosphere should be a bit better, Puh, be gone with you, peasants.
And also, as a consumer, you have to assume some of the inherent risks of funding something on Kickstarter.
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at Oculus Rift, look at Ouya, and then there was that whole Cheetah 2 debacle.
Oh yeah, Cheetah Men 2.
Yeah.
Whatever happened with that? I remember that there was like a big thing around that, but I forget what it was.
Oh man, I think that fell over backwards because it was a scam and an attempt at money laundering. Oh, sorry, did I just say that out loud?
I didn't hear that part.
Well, it, there were rumors going around about the person who ran the Kickstarter. No names, being someone who was a bit shady. No suggestions. I'm just saying those were the rumors that were floating around. I'm not saying you're a shady man. But basically, there were rumors of that going around.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it was a big scam. I mean, I took one look at it and I thought, okay, you want this many $1,000, and what you're doing is you're taking an already existing ROM and hacking it,
Yeah.
and then putting that in cartridges and selling it. To me, that sounds a bit illegal.
Yeah.
So,
Just a
I
little.
mean, I took that Kickstarter really with a pinch of salt when I saw it. It's like, yeah. It just seemed a bit too shady to me. And it was a shame because they got AVGN involved with it and they got Pat the NES Punk involved with it. And I don't think they even knew what they were helping promote at the time.
Right, because I think they had both done, like, I know AVGN
Yes,
had, I don't
they
know
had
about
both
Pat,
done
I don't
videos
follow
on
him
it.
as closely.
AVGN had done Action 52 and Cheat Men 2, and then did a video on Cheat Men 2 for Pop Fiction on Screw Attack. So he'd done Cheat Men 2 quite a few times altogether.
Yeah.
That's when I still watched it regularly.
I still watch him, but I know the quality of his work has dropped significantly. It's like his soul's not there. Like it's almost like he's lost his passion for it.
I mean, he's probably, and you know, there's a chance that that's just due to
the movie.
The movie.
Yeah.
He's probably spending a lot of time just on both of those things, and eventually it's like, you know, you do something you get so involved in anything to that level, you're gonna get a little tired of it.
Yeah. I mean, Nostalgia Critic had the right idea when he said, you know what, I'm gonna quit Nostalgia Critic. And then he comes along and says, actually, no, I'm reviving Nostalgia Critic because views and money and advertising dollars. And I don't know, again, it feels like his soul's not really been in it since. Even to a certain extent, the people I still watch religiously, and if I could ever meet them in person and hug them, I would. People like John Tafari, and Austin, Peanut Butter Gamer, they, like, even to a certain extent, they seem to start feeling like their heart's not really in what they're doing. Maybe just doing something like that for so long makes you just lose interest in it. I mean, I can understand that to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, I notice, you know, since I do like the hiring for GameCola, that like I'll get you know, a new set of writers, and they'll write like 8 reviews and then just fade away. Like, I mean, you know, there's so many things that you want to say, and then you said them.
Yeah.
So, like, trying to continue coming up with new stuff, you know, it can be an issue.
Mm-hmm. Like, and I think sometimes I think it's kind of what Jay says, like, you know, you get to a certain point where you've done so much, and it's like, where do I go from here? How do I keep it growing? How do I move on from there?
Yeah, like,
and so, like, you know, there are a bunch of different things that you try. Like, if you go with JonTron, I think his most recent video, I really like that one.
The Takeshi's Challenge. Yeah, I thought that was very strong, actually. I mean,
I think
it was definitely a lot closer to his original vision and style, as it were, and very funny.
Yeah, that video was great. But I think, like, some of the other ones, like, he did Food Fight, and that seems like it was trying really hard to be Birdemic.
Yeah, Food Fight, the Pokemon bootlegs felt sort of forced as well. I mean, there was cool stuff in them, but you compare them to what I consider the golden age of JonTron, things like his Minecraft video, "Welcome to the realm of this place." You know, he had a lot more character in his videos then, a lot more of his personality came through, and in videos like the Pokemon one and in the Food Fight one, it didn't feel like he was pumping that into it. But yeah, with the Takeshi's Challenge video, It felt like he brought a lot of that back.
Yeah, I think he might have gone back and hit his stride again. And a part of it also is probably that he's sort of revitalized. He's going through the revitalization, and got to kind of figure out, okay, what elements do I keep? What elements do I
Yeah.
kind of, like
Yeah,
what you do
absolutely.
with, we want to tie it back
Anything
to
like
video
that.
games.
Any web show,
and
anything like that. It's always an experimentation. You're always experimenting, building on your old ideas, taking things and dropping things. You never once hit perfection with anything like that. You can strive for it and strive for it, but you'll never once hit absolute solid gold. But it's about taking those small parts that you do like and those small parts that people like, and not necessarily reusing them or recycling them, because that would get old and
but
boring. But
growing on
growing
them.
them, yeah, growing them, finding, okay, this worked because why? Okay, maybe I can put a bit more emphasis on that.
How can I raise the stakes? Or Continue one time. They put out a video. It was like this little short, and it was about them killing the joke of the epic maneuver. Their epic maneuver
Yeah.
joke. I don't even remember how the music goes. It'll come back to me in a second.
It was I can't remember what the music was, but it was a clip from a Nightwish song, I think.
Yeah. How does it go? How does
Dun
it go?
dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun.
So
Yeah.
they did this thing where they beat, what they did is they kind of hit it, and they were beating up a guy, and it was like the epic maneuver joke here, like, and it was like they never, and then like at the end of the video it's like, it wasn't even our joke to begin with. And so because they felt that joke in particular had just gotten stale and they couldn't do anything else with it, they decided to actually like physically say, hey, we're not going to make this joke anymore.
It's the same with like the completionist, where they acknowledge that the bears joke was overused, so Greg will go to say bears and John will stop him. Not John,
Gerard.
Gerard, yeah. There was a video once, like, I remember this joke, so I just want to share it with you because it's hilarious, where Gerard was in one of these Evo fighting tournaments, fighting on Smash Brothers, and Jesse Cox was there commentating, and he said, Gerard's picked DK, which stands for Desperate Khalil. And I just burst out in laughter when I heard it, and whenever I remember his name now, I just think Desperate Khalil, which is almost how it became again with him. At one point, there was like a stale wall of it's the same thing, but now I think with the Final Fantasy VII feature, it's one thing he's really wanted to do that's been there in the background. And once he's got that done, I think he'll reassess what made the completionist so entertaining to begin with and so informative to begin with, and maybe go closer towards that and do less things like, oh, this Nintendo game came out 2 days ago, I've already beaten it 4 times. Which is, I mean, when he was doing videos on the new Zelda for 3DS or Mario 3D World on Wii U, I was thinking, but I want to go out and buy these games and beat them myself, so I can't watch your video because you're going to spoil it for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a problem I've run into, because this is also an art. Nobody steal this from me, because this is an article I'm going to write eventually. Once
okay,
I kind
yep.
of pull everything together.
Well,
but
let's hope you've written the article before the podcast goes out. Otherwise, there's a whole realm of listeners ready to steal your idea.
But like just this idea that Let's Plays and reviews, everyone always, whenever arguments about copyright stuff, and this isn't saying about the copyright stuff in general, but the argument that they only provide advertisement, and it only benefits companies, so why should they put it out? And it's like, while they do that, sometimes it doesn't necessarily, someone watching a Let's Play doesn't necessarily encourage them to buy the game. I know Ghost Trick is a game. I just YouTube the story and probably won't buy the game now, because that the story was sort of the main appeal.
That's pretty much how I am with music.
So it's not necessarily great. Now, if it's something where it's the main focus of the game is user creation, like Minecraft, obviously that's why it blew up so much, because it was really easy to share your own personal experiences, and then someone says, "Hey, I wonder what I can do with those same mechanics," and suddenly you've got a great interest. But then if you've got something that's like Ace Attorney, which is very story based, then if you've seen it, if you watch it, then what's your incentive to actually experience the game because you already know all the answers?
Yeah, I think the way to look at it is, I think returning to law, what would be called a derivative work, which means enough has been done to change it. And the problem therein lies with if it's a story-heavy game and you're showing the whole story, is it a derivative work? Not really. And not only that, if it's a story-heavy game, that person is going to go, right, I've seen the story. There's no point me buying the game, as you said. So in the case of a story-heavy game like Ace Attorney, 999, Another Code, Trace Memory, in the case of a game like that, I think, a Let's Play is probably more damaging than it is helpful. But with something like Terraria, Minecraft, Slender, any one of those recent horror games, Amnesia, it's nothing but helpful, these Let's Plays, especially if someone like PewDiePie does them, because then that's it just explodes, because everybody is on top of them. I mean, it used to be that guy. Does anybody remember him? Tobuscus. It used to be him. He'd do something, and then it would explode.
Yeah, he's still around.
He's still around.
He's like he's moved into that weird limbo of like not just YouTube, but a little bit beyond that, but not really mainstream.
Has
he appears in commercials.
Outside of YouTube?
He appears in commercials of like stuff, and he's kind of moved in. You know how? Okay, I don't know. You might not know this, but you know Annoying Orange?
Yes. Yeah, he's an Annoying Orange, isn't he?
Yeah, that's a TV show now, or at least it was for a while.
God.
I only know because Rob Paulson's in it.
Oh my God.
And
that's a TV show now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think he's in that. I think he plays like people.
That sounds as bad an idea as when Machinima said, you know what? You know that guy who made that crappy movie, The Room, that Tommy Wiseau? Let's just make a gaming show where we sit him in a room, make him talk to an overtly rude and homophobic alien, and make him play games for 20 minutes. Did you never see it? The Tommy
Wiseau
show.
One episode of it, and I never watched it again.
I've never heard of it. That sounds terrible.
Dreadful. He did Mortal Kombat, he did one of the Driver games, and it was, watching it was like, like intentionally gouging your eyeballs out with kitchen utensils.
Like, at first I thought it was like some guy pretending to be him.
But no, it was the real deal. You see, the problem was The Room was so popular because it was so bad. People found that funny. The problem therein lies that just because he's the creator of The Room doesn't mean he's entertaining, and 5 seconds of Tommy Wiseau being on camera trying to play a video game was just not entertaining in the slightest. So that fizzled away before it was even a thing, which I think we can all be thankful for, to be honest.
But real quick, I want to go back to the thing about Let's Plays and Minecraft. So about a month ago, I've been into watching other people play Minecraft because I didn't want to buy it. And I'd watch Tobuscus play somebody else, and then more recently Achievement Hunter. Watching those guys play. And so when I would talk to my friend, the two of us kept talking about actually buying the game. I still haven't bought it. Like, it's been 3 years that I've known about this game, and that I probably could have bought it, but I still haven't bought it. So
I regret not buying it when it was in alpha.
I
bought it in beta.
Yeah, I did too, but I don't think I knew about it when it was in alpha.
JonTron did his video on it when it was in alpha.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about JonTron then. I didn't know about JonTron until Game Grumps.
Oh. I mean, I was into JonTron more or less, I would say, not immediately after he started, but a couple of months after he'd been around. The first JonTron I'd have watched would have been. I'm just trying to think. I can't remember. I'm not going to bother trying to remember. It'll hurt my head.
In Minecraft, like, it just took this has probably been beaten to death so many times and so many different people saying it, but it's just remarkable about how much it just permeated everything. Like, it's everywhere. And it feels like it's only just now starting to hit its growing too big for its sort of hit its max point where it's going to start becoming. But it's been up until about this point, it's been growing and growing and growing, and people are only very slowly starting to kind of disconnect from it in
There
any
are
capacity.
thousands and thousands of clone games trying to be
Yeah.
Minecraft. There are books, physical, actual books released in bookstores. Like, this is the guide to crafting. This is the guide to survival. This is the guide to fighting. You want to fight the Ender Dragon? You want to fight the new super boss? Well, here's the book on how to do it. And
Instead of just
it's weird because I'd always known Minecraft as a digital thing, as a game on the computer. To walk into a shop and see Minecraft physical things on sale, and not even some niche shop like a comic shop, but actually walking into an ordinary high street retailer and seeing something Minecraft is just mind blowing.
yeah, it's just
It's
weird.
huge.
Because like you'll like hear parents like talking about how their kids play it, and you're like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Because like, and they probably view it as like and you think like they only know that sort of small spectrum of culture of it because it's like huge. Like there's so many different ways that people like do it. Like you've got people who just play survival. You've got people who just spend all their time in creative. You've got people who do adventure maps. You've got people who like go online and do like battle royale competitions.
People who play with mods, because the modding community is huge for Minecraft.
And then mods with mods, and then mod packs, and mod this.
I'm kind of boring when it comes to Minecraft. I'll only ever play vanilla. I don't play any mods whatsoever.
I played the Tekkit mod pack for a while.
I tried that once because a bunch of friends had a server that you had to be Tekkit to run it. It was just...
It's a little...
There were a few things about Tekkit I liked. They had a mod whereby if you punch a chest, it organizes everything in the chest. That was cool.
Yeah.
But then there were other mods that just didn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I like vanilla Minecraft because until they kept adding more and more things to it, horses and name tags and all this other stuff that was just completely above me. Until that point, I more or less understood the game. I learned through playing and trial and error how to craft things, make things, and even understood how to get to the final boss of the game. But then they just kept adding stuff, and then I talk to someone and they say, "Oh, have you done this? How do I do that?" Well, it's a mod. I'm thinking, I don't play the mods. The mods alone would just make Minecraft even bigger. It's already difficult to understand and retain all that information.
Mm-hmm. I've gotten to the point where I've been out of the loop for so long that I'm afraid to update my game to like whatever the newest thing is because I don't know if I'll know all the stuff that I need to know how to do.
Yeah, there's a group that I joined recently on Facebook, followers of a podcast called The Dismal Jesters, which I'm not going to bother plugging other people's stuff, but seriously, it's funny. I joined that group and they're like, "Oh yeah, we've got a Minecraft server," and I'm scared to join it because I'm thinking the last Minecraft version I played was the one where they introduced slimes in the forest and screwed up like my beautiful castle. I'd wake up in it and I could hear slimes slapping outside. I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. And that was like 3 versions ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm too scared to upgrade now.
Well, what they've done, something recently is they've Minecraft or Mojang or whatever, however you say it. They've started their own system where you can buy server space, sort of like there's always been sort of rent a server systems for Minecraft, but I think this is like a decently cheap version of it. in comparison to like other systems.
Well, I mean, I used to use Hamachi and run it on my own
Right, that's what I
network,
tried
and
to do.
that was just lag central.
Yeah,
So
because you
bad.
have to get everyone else to run Hamachi too most
Yeah,
of the time,
and then you're all connecting to the same Hamachi server.
and it's just
Oh, yeah.
so I'm hoping because it was like $13 for a month, and then like if you bought longer times, it was like it would decrease, like they do the thing where if you buy in bulk, it's so instead of like it being $78 for 6 months, which is 13 times 6, it would probably be something like 60, or there'd be some sort of discount for that. And so I was thinking about once summer rolls around and I get a new mouse, because my like my hand mouse, not a touchpad mouse, the clicker doesn't work quite right. So like the plastic bit that actually pushes the button down has like worn away a bit. So it'll like double click sometimes when I click it.
Ugh.
And so it's just ugh.
I currently use my PSP as my MP3 player. I recently bought a new PSP.
Actually,
Despite the fact I have a Vita and a 3DS, I bought a new PSP.
I was gonna say is I've been considering getting the Vita because it looks like it is easy to develop for it, like things that I've been reading.
In terms of as an actual system, it is a beautiful system.
Yeah.
And it feels really good in your hands, and visually, games on it look wonderful, and it sounds really good. I don't know what it's like to develop for, but to get your own music or pictures or videos on it is a headache, because you have to plug it into your computer and run Sony's own software to transfer the things onto it, because Sony was so freaked out after how easily people hacked the PSP.
Well, I mean, I guess the thing is like when I read about it and they were like, yeah, you have to like run this special like thing in your development software and then like port it over here and do a converter and then upload it to the thing. I'm like, well, that's not too much different from the runaround you had to do for Xbox. So like for development, it sounds like I have to do about as much work as what you're saying I had to do to get music or video.
Well, if you develop for PlayStation Minis, then you immediately have support on PS3, PSP, and PS Vita. And if you develop for PlayStation Mobile, you automatically have support on Vita.
Yeah, I think that's what I was reading about was PlayStation Mobile. They were saying it was like free to develop for Vita or something.
Because mobile, you could just port straight to Vita and it would work. When you go on the App Store on the PlayStation Vita, there's just a tab that says PlayStation Mobile, and if you press that one, just immediately everything PlayStation Mobile shows up. So,
yeah,
I mean, you got full support for it on that platform. As for developing for Vita itself, I'm not so sure. I think you have to be like a big name developer and actually have permission to develop for it, I think.
Yeah, like, I mean, from what I've heard or what they were saying back at like E3 like a year ago or whatever, they made it sound like PlayStation was really welcoming to indies, but I haven't looked up anything since they made that announcement. So
the PS4, I mean, I get the feeling the PS4 is very supportive of indies because of how many indie games I'm hearing about that are coming out on the system. But then again, the games I'm hearing about are games I already knew about.
Oh yeah, like
they're
big names that are just porting to it.
Yeah, Don't Starve and
Minecraft.
is it something Home, Go Home or something?
Gone Home?
Gone Home, yeah. It's like I've heard of those games and they're coming out for PS4. Where are
like
the games I haven't
they're like indie games
heard about?
that were indie games, and now they're also going to be on the PS4 after being on the PC for a while.
If the PS4 was so welcoming to indies, surely I would be hearing about all these indie games that aren't big names in the indie scene, So I don't know how to read it because, of course, I don't have a PS4 or an Xbox One yet.
Yeah, I mean, but you also have to...
I'm waiting until they're affordable.
You also have to keep in mind that, like, for indies who are just getting into developing, are they going to take a chance on something that's new? And also the people who, they have to learn the system, they have to learn all the little quirks, they have to go through all the development hoops to get a game on. Whereas with an existing game, it's easier to say, okay, we have the working game, let's just port it over where, already accomplished developers or whatever.
How hard is a port in different situations? Because it feels like it should be something like in the scope of a video game company that like builds games from scratch. The port should be pretty easy, but I don't know. Sometimes it's weird. Like apparently,
I don't
with
know,
Yoshi's
because
Island, for it to the Game Boy, they had to change the sounds because there was something incompatible with the Super Nintendo sound chip and the Game Boy Advance sound chip, but it was okay with the Nintendo 64 sounds, so they used Yoshi's story sounds.
I'm not sure, because with some games, the way they're developed, there will be like a platform that the game is then built for inside like that game. Like the game engine would be built in a certain way that it would take a game, like a giant game file, and that way the game would be intact, but you'd write a different loader for it for the different platforms. But then there's other games where the way they're coded directly to talk to a particular platform. So I think the ease of porting it depends on how the game was built to begin with.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, because what I was going to say is, like, I really enjoy reading about the technical specifics of, like, the Super Nintendo or whatever. I was actually just recently reading about the odd, weirdo programming stuff required for Nintendo 64 because they made a console for 3D, but they were also like, what is 3D? Like, they didn't really know at the time, And
just in my head, I've got this picture of like the great thinker statue just there looking into space, and then just Andros's face from Star Fox comes towards him. It's just like, what is 3D? Is this 3D?
Well,
like that image came to mind when you said that. It's like pondering life's biggest question: what is 3D?
Yeah.
To be or not to be 3D?
I mean, because I guess they had all these, like, they had these ideas of how the developers would make stuff for 3D. And then basically the developers came along, they were like, well, what we need isn't this. And I was reading about, like, the weirdo stuff that they would do because I don't know if you know anything about, like, the Super FX chip for the Super Nintendo, right? Like, do you know anything about, like...
Yeah, that's but you would put it in the cartridge.
Yeah, okay, and that's the thing. Is, okay, you could do all this crazy stuff with a cartridge, and I guess they did stuff like that for the original Nintendo where they would, like, expand the sound system to include more, like, channels.
I think Sunsoft did that quite a lot with... Sunsoft did the sound thing with Gimmick, and with Batman they added extra sound.
Yeah.
But, like, you also had save. That's how they did save files.
Yeah.
Save files were a cartridge. So, instead of saving it to your console like you do nowadays, it would save on the game. So if you took your physical cart and put it in another system, then it would. Save. But nowadays, it's if you take a game. So, like, the thing is, now the difference is that if you rent a game now,
you don't get to see what the end of the game is.
Right, you don't get to start at the end of the game, but also if you rent a game, then return it, and then rent it again later, nowadays you can pick up where you left off.
Oh, that's a good point, because I do remember playing a number of games that I was like, oh, they're saved at the end, it's so weird, I don't know where I am.
And this still happens with some games, like on handhelds, since they don't use discs.
Well, even now with Vita, they save to your system, even though it comes on a little SD card. All it really does is it just says, yeah, I'm saving data to your console.
Well,
it's like, what's the point in even the card anymore? And it's annoying because they've done that deliberately to wean out cartridges and to wean out cards.
Well, they, what is it? Oh, okay. They basically could put, like, tiny processors on the cartridges to, like, do extra processing and stuff, and they would have, like, that's why, Stunrace FX and Star Fox and stuff could do 3D on the Super Nintendo, was because they had these little, like, math coprocessors that would do the 3D stuff. And that's how they worked around some of the issues for the Nintendo 64, because the Nintendo 64, like, they had all these weird separate memory slots that were like, even though it has a total memory of this much is reserved for textures, this much is reserved for like polygon stuff. And I just find it really interesting reading about those differences, because like you were saying, doing a port back then, if you wanted to have a game that was like targeted at the Super Nintendo, that was like making use of Mode 7 and stuff, and then you want to move it to the Genesis, like how do you emulate Mode 7-esque stuff?
Yeah, a lot of that you couldn't because of the way the chips in the console were actually made.
But
I mean, I don't think I've really played anything on Mega Drive that is in the same vein as Mode 7.
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of anything where they've stretched a bitmap out to create a 3D effect. Nothing springs to mind. I mean, there's games where they've scaled sprites, but the further away the sprite is, they use a smaller sprite.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Super Effects chip, in general, or just in general, what the Super Nintendo could do, they didn't necessarily need to use smaller sprites further away for some of those effects.
I'm just thinking, oh no, sorry, I just looked up a screenshot, because I was thinking about Echo the Dolphin, because didn't Echo 2 have some sort of like, you were going through hoops into the screen?
Yeah,
but
the way they did that was just larger or smaller versions of the sprites.
Yeah, well,
to create the effect of 3D.
It was kind of like how they had like racing games on the Atari. Like, it's just weird to think of a racing game from behind the car, like on the Atari, when it didn't have any, like, there was absolutely no 3D. Like, how did they do that? But no, again, going back to the whole deal of porting, these days, like, I know there are differences, but they're so far hidden from the developer that they probably don't make a huge difference. It's more like, well, we need to convert all of the formats over for these textures, and then because we did the conversion, we need to like keep in mind that on this system there's like 3/4 the memory for textures or whatever. Just keeping track of specifics, or like, well, it has slower throughput, so when we made the textures larger by converting them, it's going to be slower to load, so we actually need to like tone things down a bit. It's not as big of a deal as like, I literally cannot perform this operation on this system.
But there's like, you've also got cross-platform games, like games that are made to be on multiple systems.
Yeah, well,
it's always it's interesting sometimes how they cut corners. Like I have this one game that I have. It's called what is it? It's like Tyson the Tasmanian Tiger.
Okay.
Or something. It's like a very Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie, like trying to be that style of game.
Yeah.
But what they do is like they'll say stuff like, in order to swim underwater, press the jump button, and then like on the text that is going by as the voice acting is happening, it'll say like in parentheses A.
Yeah.
Like, and they'll show a picture of the A. It's like, how hard really would it have been to record different things for the 3 different consoles that you were going to send out to?
Yeah.
Like, would that really have been that big of a deal?
Yeah.
And easier to remember, I would think.
I don't know. Sometimes they're just lazy, or sometimes they like specifically ported something out at the last minute. They were like, oh yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, I guess maybe. I think sometimes voice actors are paid by the word, so maybe it's just like. No, but it is, because like that was a problem in Dragon Ball Z dubbing, is that a lot of the times actors weren't being paid for all the screaming they had to do, because those weren't counted as words.
Okay.
And Dragon Ball Z, like the original dub, which had all that stalling in it so that the guy could write the comics, so that they could they could do that. So there was a lot of screaming, and it was a lot of hard work for a voice actor, and you wouldn't get paid for it because it was all screaming.
Interesting.
So that apparently was like a problem back in the day. I don't know lot about it.
That just seems so weird, like paid by the word.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
like, how else you can, because they'll like, they come in and just do it like all at once.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like they usually, I think it's usually over the course of like maybe not a week, but it's not a very long
Yeah.
time. And they'll just go to a recording studio and just do it and just record, especially with dubbing when everything's already made.
It's the reverse of radio DJs. Like originally when radio was starting out, like consumer radio, playing songs, they would only have to pay for the amount of the record that wasn't being spoken on, which is where the whole idea of speaking over the intro of the record came in. It's like the opposite of that. Instead of paying for the amount you're not speaking, you're instead paying for the amount that is being spoken with this voice acting. So it seems weird to a certain extent that screaming isn't considered
I don't
words.
know if that's changed since then. I think there might be a change in policy now.
Surely screaming is harsher and harder on the voice than just speaking. I mean, I'd consider screaming worth 2 words, maybe 3 words, perhaps.
Well, it depends on how long the scream goes, because they would be like 10-second screams.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to scream for that long? It's horrible.
You could talking, even like, I mean, I'm sure you know because you've done Let's Plays and stuff, but like, if you just talking, like if you do something where it's just you talking for a really long time, it's surprisingly straining on your voice.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Even if it's just normal talking, you'll be like, God, I need some water. Because, like, I have a friend, and sometimes we'll just get together and play video games and record it, and it's more for ourselves than for, like, first of all, they're not usually that good, but she just likes to be able to go back and watch them, and I figured, you know what, maybe some other people enjoy it, so I post them on my channel, but, like, it's surprising, like, after maybe an hour where you're like, I need to go get something to drink, hold on. And you just feel like you've been talking normally.
When I was doing Neo, which I've never finished and probably never will finish, as a Let's Play, I mean, I've beaten the game multiple times, but while I was doing that, there was one part of the game where it turns into a text-based adventure game, and I recorded that episode, and my throat was so dry at the end, and I was also doing the character impersonation, so when the book was supposed to be talking, I was going, oh, but I'm the book, and I speak like this. And it was just killing my throat. And I lost that episode. I lost the recording for that episode, so I know that if I ever return to it, I've got an hour of reading text. Oh.
That's always the worst, when you've like recorded something and then you lose the recording and you're just like, how can I even, like, there's that barrier of, I already did this, how am I going to motivate myself to do it again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've come across that multiple times when it comes to video editing, and just in general, if I'm editing a video and I think, oh, that take isn't very good, I then have to convince myself, plug in the microphone, re-record the take. But I've already spoken this once. Re-record the take then. If you don't, it's going to sound really bad and you're going to look stupid. But Matthew, shut up. Do it. Okay.
My channel is devoted to just me singing. So, like, I'll record once and be like, well, this is bad. And then I do it again. I'm like, this is even worse. And then I go, do I really want to do it again, or am I just done?
like, even when I'm doing... Like, I've read off a script. I've had scripts for my 2 review videos that I did a while back. I haven't had time to do anything else because school is ending, and that's just a whole big debacle. But it's surprising, like, how much I have to convince myself to say, all right, look, read it at least 3 times. Like, I know you felt like the first 2 times would be okay, but just read it a 3rd time. Or sometimes I'll just read it once, and then I'll go back in editing. It's like, I should have said that many times. Because that one take did not sound good at all.
I left a mistake in a video I did recently. I was in the editing stage, and I had time to fix it. I thought, no. But then I think about it, I mentioned the melting clocks, and I said it was a Picasso painting. It's a Dali painting. And I know that just some art buff is going to watch the video and go, well, I say, he said it was a Picasso painting. Well, I am not going to share this on my blog full of people who love video games and video game videos. Forget it, he can go without it. He doesn't even know the difference. What an uneducated swine. Oh, I do say, Bartholomew.
Can't you
Call
just
me
like
another
put an annotation? Can't you just put like a YouTube annotation if nothing else?
I would, but then I think, well, hold on, now I know that mistake's there. What if I leave it in to mess with people?
So you're gonna tell them that you did it on purpose,
Yeah.
and they will believe. They'll all believe you.
The only people who will know the truth are the people who listen to this podcast.
Oh.
So all of about 3 people besides us will know.
Yeah.
Ooh. That felt really evil. I have to flagellate myself now.
Yikes.
Excuse. That doesn't sound pleasant.
It's not.
How does that even work?
What?
Like, how do you, like, whip yourself? It was a terrific blow.
Critical hit.
Like,
Super effective.
I mean, we've been doing this for 2.5 hours. Should we?
Nah.
No? Maybe I can have podcast 73.5, like halfway through the month. Cut it into 2.
Well, we did actually talk about a lot of stuff. I mean, that's mind-blowing. I've been on podcasts before, and every 10 minutes has been you going, video game.
Yes, it's true. What
So
do you mean
it's-
I don't sound 28? Thank you.
I said you don't sound 80. What was it?
Oh,
86.
86.
I was making a joke. You said
Oh.
1986. I said you don't sound 86.
Okay,
See?
sorry. Oh, sorry. For some reason, in my mind, I just automatically translated that to mean that you didn't think I was 28.
No.
That I don't sound
That you don't
86.
sound 86.
God, you
Yeah,
did say that.
that was the joke.
I get it now. So,
GameCola. We understand jokes.
yeah, the Nintendo 64. I still don't understand the point of the GameCube. Like, I have this weird, like, I didn't own a Nintendo 64 and I didn't own a GameCube. And, like, I only owned a PlayStation in that era. And after the PlayStation 3 and the Wii came out is when I bought a PlayStation 2. So there's this whole, like, area that I just don't really understand.
I know one technical specification fact about the GameCube, and it may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the textures on the system are 8 times compressed.
Okay?
So
That mean?
the texture is 8 times smaller than it would be when it's expanded and used in memory. But
What
that's
is
the
that?
only technical specification fact
What
about the GameCube
What does
I
that
know.
mean in terms of how everything looks?
Well-
I find that visually GameCube games look great. At least the first party titles do.
Yeah, you can like there's a little bit of fidelity that you can kind of notice with GameCube games, but in general they don't look bad, and it's definitely something like they don't look dated that much, really.
When I look at GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox like next to each other, GameCube does tend to look better. But if you've got an Xbox and you've got VGA output on your Xbox, then it looks so much better than GameCube and PS2. I still think the Dreamcast looks great, even though it's, like, overrated console. And I still think the games on Dreamcast look great, like visually.
All I remember is being very confused about how you would hook it up to the internet. That, like, someone was trying to tell me that they would play Phantasy Star Online. And, like, I would get very confused, number one, because they kept saying PSO. And I was like,
Yeah.
PlayStation 1? And then they were like, no, ugh, idiot, I'm playing Phantasy Star Online. And I'm like, internet.
Fantasy Star with a PH?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you didn't know? You don't know about Phantasy Star?
I've
I
heard
did,
of Fantasy Star, but I didn't remember the whole PH thing, but that does sound familiar now. I remember the whole internet thing. I didn't know it was spelled fantasy.
I never used my Dreamcast online ever, and I never played Phantasy Star Online in any of its forms, GameCube or the PC version. I've never ever played those games.
Yeah.
And I've never used the online on the Dreamcast. To me, it just felt tacked on, like it was oh, look what we can do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the Dreamcast was like as a system, was,
You
oh,
can play,
look what we can do.
play little video
We can
games
do
on the
internet.
controller.
Yeah. Oh, look, you can take your memory card with you and play Chow Adventure. You can feed your Chow lots of fruits and then take it back to Sonic Adventure and it can win races. It's like, or you can just play games on your console.
I think it's weird that Nintendo has kind of just gone back to, like, they talk about how all their ideas are new, quotation marks, but honestly they just go back to old stuff that didn't work the first time and make it work. Like, except maybe, like, you know, you've got the Dreamcast with the games you can play on the controller, and now you've got the Wii U gamepad. You've got motion controls, where they did stuff with motion controls before.
Power Glove.
Yeah. And it didn't work, but then they came out with Wiimote and it worked to an extent. Then what was did I say Virtual Boy and 3DS?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't know. I can't tell if it would be a really good idea or a really bad idea to make Virtual Boy games for the 3DS, like port them.
Now, you see, there are so many people asking for Virtual Boy games on the 3DS Virtual Console. I would say don't port them over. Don't make like the Virtual Boy emulator for the 3DS and port the games over. Don't do that. If you're going to release a Virtual Boy game on the Virtual Console, remake the game. So you're not staring at black and red, you're staring at actually decent-looking visuals.
Yawn.
Why yawn?
Okay, Matt Jonas, have you played any of my game yet?
No, I haven't yet played any of Pizzarian,
Yes.
the new game by Alex Jedraszczak.
Yes.
Did I say it
Yes.
right? Awesome.
For development, I generally just go by The Jedi, though.
New game by The Jedi.
Yes, exactly. Okay, because the thing is... oh, that's right, because you're on your iDevice.
I'm assuming, because you did the same for Star Runner, I'm assuming that your game is using the Game Boy visual style, the green and dark green.
Okay, but here's the thing, is that I've added a function where you can change the colors, and there's currently 4 sets. There's Original, Virtual, Pocket, and Cool Ranch. And it's, Original is green, Pocket is gray, Cool Ranch is blue, which I think looks pretty cool, and then Virtual.
Cool Ranch is in the Doritos flavor.
Because it comes in a blue bag.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's
deep. That's deep, Daddy. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, okay, there is a bit of a story.
That speaks to me on just a level that
there is.
It's blue because it comes in a blue bag.
Thank you, Joe. There is a bit of a story behind this. Is that during the development of my previous game that actually was never released. Between Star Runner and Pizzarian, I was working on Foretold Heroes, which was like an RPG.
Yes, I remember you posting about that on your Tumblr.
Yes, indeed. And I was trying to come up with names of items, and it was 4 in the morning, and I'm sitting here I need the green potions, a blue, a cool blue, is that cool ranch? I need a Cool Ranch potion. This is what I need. And I'm maybe I should go to sleep. But then I was here.
I don't know, it could be the perfect product placement. You get Cool Ranch flavor potion.
Yeah, if I could... there is the picture of me imitating Jeff Keighley sitting next to a pile of Doritos and Mountain Dew. But...
Oh, that picture.
But, okay, so yes, the point is, though, is that there is, and I can't stand playing it for more than a couple of minutes, there is virtual mode, which is all done in various shades of blinding red. So.
Oh, man. I just hate visually the virtual console, not virtual console, Virtual Boy color
Yeah.
scheme, the red and the black. Like the majority of Virtual Boy emulators that exist, they use a more purpley color to like create the effect of what the two screens would look like together.
Yeah.
So
Oh, were they different colors? Like, I've never actually used one.
no, I think just the emulators use like a purple, so it's easier on the eyes
Okay.
than two reds.
Yeah.
And I just think, I don't know, could I really play a game that looked like that for half an hour or longer? Probably not. The that game, that GTA clone, 8-bit, Retro City Rampage, it has a color setting for Virtual Boy colors, and it's horrible. It does my eyes in to play that for more than 5 seconds with that mode on. I tend to play with the full color mode, and the same thing would just make more sense to me with Virtual Boy games. If Nintendo released them on 3DS with 3D support, release them in full color.
But I still feel like they want to like just pretend like that never existed. I don't know if they like from
Well,
like a marketing standpoint. I don't know if this is actually true, but I feel like I would hear marketers say like, "No, that was a failure. We don't reference that. We don't talk about that."
well, it's funny because connecting it right back to what we were talking about at the start of this podcast,
Yes.
when I mentioned Tomodachi Life on the 3DS, there was a scene in the Nintendo Direct where they showed a bunch of Mii characters dancing around a Virtual Boy, and the text in the text box was saying, "All hail the Virtual Boy! All hail the Virtual Boy!" So I think Nintendo perhaps have come to terms with the Virtual Boy now.
It might have been long enough that they can kind of.
Yeah, it's the hurt is gone, and they can finally move on. Perhaps
It is referenced every once in a while. Like in Super Paper Mario, there's a character that's like this lizard nerd, this chameleon nerd, and you can go into like one of his rooms and he's got a whole bunch of Nintendo stuff, and he's got like a Virtual Boy up on the shelf with like all the other systems.
Nintendo could be coming to terms with the Virtual Boy, or they could be deluding themselves and thinking that the Virtual Boy is God, and they're now worshipping the Virtual Boy in reality, and all their future design decisions. Yes, we will make the Virtual U, which is a Wii U with a headset in blinding red and black visuals. Yes. I don't know if I could live in a world where such a thing existed.
That's the worrying thing. It's because you always hear about this thing about how what is it? Like Nintendo with how much money Nintendo's amassed, they could stand to be like only produce complete failures for like 40 years, and you're like, that's a lot of power.
No one man should have all that power.
That's a lot of power to make the worst and weirdest stuff you could possibly make, and everyone would pay attention to it.
And it looks like they're starting with Tomodachi Life. Seriously, I had lost my 3DS since halfway through January this year, and I found it. And instead of thinking, oh, I can't wait for Smash Brothers, or oh, I can't wait for Kirby Triple Deluxe, or any of these other titles coming out this year, I thought, now I can get Tomodachi Life.
It's just, I don't know. Like, I've got...
It's moved me. It's moved me to tears. No other game has. It is truly the future of modern engineering, and I have not been paid by Nintendo in any way to say this, but I think it may be the biggest and best game ever made. Ever.
It's interesting how I think console gaming, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this isn't completely right, but it feels like since like the idea of the indie scene on PC has gotten to a point where like it's pretty viable.
Yeah.
It's like the consoles have sort of moved into sort of this big third-party AAA is kind of all you get there, and then smaller stuff and indie stuff will end up on PC. And so the 3DS has good games, but they're pretty much all like the games I like on it most are Pokemon and then Kid Icarus.
Mm.
Those are the ones I'll keep coming back
mostly
to.
first or second party. Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's true for 3DS for me, but today I started playing Rhythm Thief for the first time, and that was produced by Sega, and it's quite possibly the best 3DS game I've ever played.
What is it called?
Rhythm Thief.
Hmm.
It's basically let's take Professor Layton, put rhythm action in it, and set it in France. You are a thief who steals artworks that have like an Illuminati style symbol on them to try and get to the truth of why his father disappeared.
Does it remind him of a puzzle?
Okay.
No.
I looked up stuff about the third game, the sixth game technically, for Professor Layton, and I was just laughing hysterically because all of it was so weird. It was great.
I played halfway through one Professor Layton game, and the only
same.
reason I stopped was for me the only reason I stopped was it accidentally got washed, so I couldn't play it anymore.
I stopped playing Layton when I had a puzzle that was like, how many times can this number appear in the 24-hour clock? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's 6 times, I'm pretty sure. And then it's like 28 times, and here's why. I'm like, no, I quit. Too much.
The one I got stuck on one puzzle that was like, take the longest path to get to here. And I followed it, like, I did it like a bajillion times, and I got all the clues, and it was the clues were like stuff like, take the longest path and you'll win.
Why are we taking the longest path?
Because that was the puzzles. Like, you had a whole bunch of different courses.
Even with the puzzle, that's stupid. Why would you want to do that?
I couldn't get it, and so I just had to stop. But it was funny because early on in the game, like, you could do it, and it's like, I give up on this puzzle. And the character that you need to get information from, but they say do this puzzle first. The character would be like, I'll give you the information anyway, whatever. But then it was that one puzzle that was the first puzzle that I was stuck on, and they didn't let me. I couldn't just skip it.
Could you just?
I remember Puzzle Agent being like that. It's like, give me a hint. Here's your hint. Well, that isn't helpful. Give me another hint. No. Another hint. Yeah, useless. And I just had to keep guessing answers until it said, yes, it's correct, and here's why. I'm like, thanks.
But I feel like it would be, it depends, I guess, and I feel like the quality of a Professor Layton game could vary drastically just based on how well the puzzles are. Because it's a fun concept, and, the style of the game is interesting, but it just depends on which individual puzzles that you get to. But it's fun. It was funny sometimes how they would justify, like you would be going up to this door, this old abandoned mansion, and then there was this thing that was like, wait, a voice comes from somewhere you hear, and it's like, wait, must have completed 150 puzzles to move on into this mansion.
Before we can enter this front door, I am reminded of a previous front door, which reminds me of a puzzle about front doors. Here, Luke, you must complete this front door puzzle. Cheers. Thanks, Layton. You won't even let me continue until I have answered your stupid puzzle. Okay, how many times does this number appear in the 24-hour clock? All right, done.
That's one of the first few puzzles in the first game, I believe, isn't it? I think so, because my friend just got it.
I'm just thinking about when I was playing Crystalis, and I tried to go into the mountains, and it's like, you're not powerful enough to go in here. And so I spent a couple hours leveling up, and it was still you're not powerful enough to go in here. And then I realized that I was actually supposed to do a story event. And so basically...
So they didn't mean you were actually not physically powerful enough. You were not powerful enough in wisdom.
Yeah, or something.
Something.
Powerful enough.
That's just ridiculous.
In story.
I wish it would just say, you're not supposed to go here yet. At least that's, like, straightforward. It's like,
Well,
okay,
or
fine.
Or they could have done something that was like, "Oh, the bridge is down. You gotta wait for us to build it." So that at least I would have known, like, okay, I have to wait for a story event until after
It's
that.
like, oh, we got to wait for the old guy in the road to have his cup of coffee
Yeah,
before he'll get
yeah.
up.
Well, that was a problem in, I think, black
Yeah.
and white Pokemon.
Really, they
Is-
brought it back in black and white because that was in the original red and blue. Oh, I haven't had my coffee. I can't move from the road
Right.
yet.
But what they did was, usually it was in Pokemon games, what impedes your progress is either a story event or an HM
Hmm.
that you need. So you'll
Yeah.
need to beat this gym to keep moving. And the gyms are known for giving you the ability to use HMs outside of battle, and so you can, move a rock that's in your way.
Yeah.
But in black and white, what they tried to do was make it so that HMs weren't required for anything. So
What?
you could, they were helpful, but then the idea, I guess, would be that you didn't have to have a dedicated HM Pokemon with you all the time.
Ah, no HM
But-
slave in your party.
Right, but the problem became that you always just ran into these arbitrary people who just wouldn't let you go. And it was it was just like this constant barrage of, no, you can't go here because of reasons.
Yeah, there were a few of those in X and Y as well.
Right,
People
but
are just like, oh, no, you haven't gone to the gym yet. You should go to the gym. It's
or like when they say the
thanks.
power's out in the second half of, what is it called? What's the name of the big city again?
Luminous.
Luminos. Like they say
Yeah.
the power's off, but if you go there at nighttime, you can clearly
You can
see
see the
buildings with
lights
the lights on.
Yes. That was so ridiculous. Yeah.
My sister, when she played the first Monkey Island game after I told her she should, and she had a problem where she couldn't get past something because she had to do it in order, and she was really upset because she hates having to do things in order, and so she just stopped playing forever. She's just like, yeah, I'm not playing that game ever again. I'm like, why not? Because I have to do things in order. I'm like, no, you don't. She's like, well, it told me I had to. And it's funny because you actually don't have to do things in order.
There are a couple of puzzles maybe in every other adventure game, a couple of puzzles where there's an order, but usually you can just try item on thing until you get success.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem was that I told her she should play it, and so she just gave up because she doesn't like doing
yeah.
things that I tell her she should do.
Yeah, quite often people will suggest, why don't you try a thing? I'm like, yeah, sure, don't like it. I mean, that happens so often with me where people suggest things to me. I'm like, yeah, don't like it. You haven't even tried it yet.
Exactly. That's exactly what she does to me, and it pisses me off.
But recently I had a suggestion, why don't you try this? It's like, okay. And then I liked it so much I did a video on it, which is very unusual. But it's like, wow, I actually liked this old Famicom game so much that, screw it. I'm going to do a video on it right now.
What was it?
Time Zone.
Time Zone.
It's a platformer where you're a boy with a baseball cap and you throw it like a frisbee.
Okay.
Does it come back to you, or do you get like a
Yes,
new
it
baseball
comes
cap?
back to you.
So it's more like a boomerang.
Yes,
Oh.
I suppose, but I had to use more than one projectile in my review not to sound boring, so I used Frisbee Hat, and I think I called it a boomerang baseball cap as well. Yes, it is more like a boomerang, I suppose. But depending on the amount of wind, I'm sure a Frisbee could fly back and hit you in the face.
That's a good
Probably.
point.
Probably.
In a wind tunnel, maybe.
It would have to have a lot of up. You'd have to like throw it up, and then it kind of swoops back down.
But then again, what kind of idiot goes to a wind tunnel and says, you know what, I'm going to answer this question once and for all. If I throw a Frisbee in a wind tunnel, will it come back to me?
I would do it.
It's like, wait, you are paying your fee to rent out a wind tunnel for an hour to test that theory. You're not going to use the wind tunnel for something cool, like, I got rockets on the back of my car. Let's see how fast I can go through the wind tunnel. Come
I always
on,
wonder, like, what happens if you just is a wind tunnel like a circle usually?
No, it's like a long tube and the wind goes through it one way really fast.
So what are you supposed to like tie yourself to something, or like what do you do? What do you do in a wind tunnel?
I don't know. It's probably the equivalent to like when you stick your head out of a car window and you're like, oh, this is amazing. The wind's going through my hair and it's making my face melt. It's probably the
Right.
equivalent of that.
But like, what if it's so strong that it could like lift you? Like that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Well, I don't think they normally put people in wind tunnels. At least, like,
Not
not
usually.
at that, like, extreme of
Well, then how are you gonna throw the frisbee?
robot.
Oh no, what have I started?
Well, But okay, I don't think you would need like hurricane force winds to blow a frisbee back.
But I thought, do you have like speeds on a wind tunnel? Like, can you set it to like, I don't even know what unit wind would be. Like,
Miles per hour.
Miles per hour, probably.
Knots?
Yeah.
like, I would like 200 kilowinds.
1 mega wind.
That just sounds like a buff in Pokemon. Like, I'm going to use a Mega Wind. Your flying Pokemon have now increased in skill. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Like Mega Wind, some kind of RPG item.
Hey, did anyone else get a thing from Diana and Michael?
Oh, sorry, I just saw that. I'm very confused.
I want to do a random /party.
But I haven't ended the podcast yet.
I know.
Let's start the next podcast.
Well, okay, can I?
Right
can
now.
I?
Let's do it.
Well,
Let's do it.
I need to say, okay, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for being here. Watch us on YouTube. Go to our Facebook. Go to our internet website, GameCola.net. We're on Twitter. Goodbye, everybody.
Did we just end it?
Wait, do I need to say that I came in? Do I need to like be the do my introduction?
You can, because when you came in, I specifically said, and Joseph Martin. So just go ahead and say, who you are.
Hi, I'm Joseph Martin, and I'm a staff writer, and I will be very quiet for the first half of this podcast, and then suddenly become very talkative.
He did not come in half an hour later, so.
Yes, perfect.
None will be the wiser.
Well then, can I somehow wait? How do I? Can I drop this?
How do I live?
Oh wait, they're not. I don't think they're ready yet.
I don't care.
Without you.
Wait. Oh, I used to know that song. But I know the Homestuck version, not the real one.
Oh.
Like it's slightly different. What?
Of what?
How do I? Wait. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to think. The Nick Cage song, like get through one night without you. If I had to live without you, what kind of life would that be? Oh, and I need you in my arms, need you to hold.
What have I started?
Sorry, I'm trying to remember how that even goes.
Homestuck.
If you ever leave, baby, that would take away everything real in my life. Sorry. There's like a
That
drum
sounds
solo.
that sounds vaguely like the original record, I guess.
Yeah, like it's slightly different, and whenever I hear the real one played, I'm like, that sounds so weird, because I only know about it because of Homestuck. I was gonna make a Homestuck reference earlier. Somebody said something, and now I can't remember what it was.
I don't even know what Homestuck is. All I know is because I follow Anna on Tumblr, all I get is Homestuck stuff.
Yes.
I tried, I did, and it's just that beginning barrier of
It's
nothing
hard to
happening.
get into because the first half is so like boring.
I loved the
first half.
I loved the first part, and then I didn't like it after that. Like,
But it's just, I would be fine with the first part if I didn't have to like click and load a page and click and load a page and click and load a page, because like my internet, like, or my computer, I don't know which, just like starts getting mad at me if I keep loading and loading things, and it starts to take a while.
so weird.
And it's just like, I don't want to spend all this time just waiting for one panel of a comic to load.
No, for me, I really liked, like, I enjoyed the parts where he's like, I don't know how to use my Sylladex. Like, the things just shot out the window.
That was funny. I like
Like,
that.
and then, so, like, I'm getting really into all the, like, video game references, and then all of a sudden it's like, we're gonna completely drop all of those, and it's suddenly gonna be about the trolls, and, like, I kind of stopped caring for a while, but then it picked back up, and, like, right as it's picking back up, it's like, here are these other kids. And I'm like, but then...
That was so annoying because then they stopped that and went to the intermissions.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then I was like, no, now I want to go back to them. What are you doing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me?
yeah. Like they just kept jumping around right when it was getting good. And
Yeah,
it's
it was
like,
pissing me off.
here's the mayor of Cantown.
I love the mayor.
Joe and Matt have no clue what's going on.
No, that's good. That means I can take a break.
Yes. Are we doing whatever it's called?
What?
Hack and slash.
I might actually,
What?
I might let you guys go on and do that. I might go after this.
I think I will probably head off in a moment anyway, because it's 3:20
Oh wow.
a.m.
Yeah.
Good night, Matt.
It's hardly night anymore. It's more like good morning.
Good morning.
Do you see the sun yet? Has the sun happened?
No, curtains are shut.
Okay.
I don't think the sun will come up quite yet. Probably about 5 or 6. Probably about 5. It'll start rearing its ugly head. Hello, good morning, everybody.
It's just like, no, go away.
I'm just remembering when I was in Canada for a while.
Blame Canada.
Well, you have to remember, like, they're so far north that, like, in winter, the sun rises at, like, 10 a.m. and sets at, like, 4.
Yeah.
And, like, but in summer, it's the other way around, and it's, like, the sun only vaguely sets. It's set at, like, 10:30. And, like, then it's back up at, like, 4 a.m.
There are parts of Norway that are plunged in darkness for more or less 4 or 5 months of the year.
Yeah.
Apart from like an hour of sunlight.
Yeah.
And they actually give away free UV lamps to citizens there because the rate of depression is so high.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say.
Everybody is so sad there.
Yeah, seasonal affective disorder. I know about, like, that's a thing.
I learned about that last.
Yeah, absolutely. I suffer from it during the winter.
Yeah.
Quite strongly, actually.
Now, I have a friend in Canada who I go up and visit sometimes, and she suffers from that.
Is it like a regional thing? Like, is it more pronounced in different areas of the world based on, like, climates and stuff?
Well, I mean, it has to do with sunlight, like how much sunlight you get.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he was saying about the UV lamps, is that, like,
Oh, okay.
like, it's a chemical thing, and
Although your body knows it isn't getting the vitamin D or whatever from the sun, at the same time it's going, well, I think I'm getting sunlight, so I'm going to generate these good-feeling chemicals you get when you're in the sun. It's like convincing the body to create those.
yeah, and like, it's just sort of sad, I guess, that, like, they live in Canada, so, like, it's not like they can just move south. Like, they're kind of stuck. I always felt bad for them. Video games.
Yes, video games. Absolutely. Whatever he said. Truly splendid for us. I appear to be most talkative when I am extremely tired.
You do tend to show up on the podcast, like, the later it is.
That's weird, isn't it?
Or like back when we did the Christmas live stream.
Yeah.
And like we were like talking and it was like 2 a.m. for us, so I don't know, it was probably like
7.
Yeah, that was about 5 or 6 a.m. that I went to sleep.
And it was like
time.
it had gotten to the point where like there were a couple of us just talking, and all of a sudden like we were like wrapping up, and I was like, Matt, you still there? Because like you'd been playing the game, but you like hadn't said anything for like an hour.
That
was fun.
Playing that Waterworld.
Waterworld.
Yes.
Yeah.
Waterworld.
It's such a good game though.
What were you even doing? All I saw was like red blobs moving around.
It doesn't even matter what it is at that point. It's just that abstract experience. It's just it goes beyond reality, beyond feasible, understandable, tangible things, just into the realm of just feeling. That's what it becomes.
Clearly. Like, all I remember was I think you were supposed to be on a raft, and then like people on jet skis came at you.
Yeah. You have to shoot the people on jet skis and make sure the people in the water don't get hurt.
That's right, there are people who are drowning or whatever.
Yeah. And you don't have to save them. You can keep them there just drowning.
Oh, but
You just have to make sure they don't get shot.
What? That doesn't make sense.
Because they sort of save themselves at the end of the round, and then the round starts over anew. Oh, and you have to save the kid as well.
Oh.
You have to make sure the kid doesn't get shot, and if you do, you get a bonus.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a good game. I like it. I think it's probably one of the most solid games on Virtual Boy. I mean, if they said, yeah, we're going to re-release Waterworld on the Virtual Console of the 3DS, I'd be thinking, great, who's been smoking? And then I think, hey, yeah, I'll get it. Yeah, I'll buy it day one. Yeah.
Pre-order.
Well, what I did with NES Remix 2 was when it first was listed on the store as coming soon, I added it to my watch list.
Yeah.
And then the day it came out, I'm like, yep, it's the morning of this day. Load up the store, buy it.
Actually, you were talking about how many games there are. That is a question that is on my my list of questions to post on GameCola, the Facebook thing.
What do you mean? How many games there are? What?
Oh, well, you're talking about how you have like 200 games that you've never played or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the questions that I have to ask is like, with the number of indie games and like, foreign games that are being developed and all this, at what point is there literally too many games?
I would argue that including other systems in the past, including retro, that we have already surpassed what I would call too many games.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we did that around about the time PS3 and Xbox 360 were around. I would say there is no way you could play every single one of these games in an average human lifetime.
Yeah. And like, I guess part of it is with all these indie games, there are a lot of them that like look interesting or good, and I'm just like, but do I want to spend like, $5 or $10 or $20 on all of these games and then try to dedicate my life to like playing these games? I don't know. It's sad because like they look good.
They require more involvement than we have time for nowadays. That's why mobile gaming is able to get so big, is because people need something that they can experience and then be done with.
Yeah, mobile gaming is huge for that whole reason, for fire it up quickly, player level.
Yeah.
And it's not really designed for those intense gaming bursts yet. Console games are still sort of really focused on the intense gaming session. There isn't really much in the way of casual. Even on Wii, you don't turn on your Wii to play 2 levels of a game and then turn it off.
Yeah.
Not unless they're really big levels.
And wait, I had something that I was going to say and I don't remember what it was.
Welcome to We've been podcasting for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
3 hours,
3:08.
8 minutes,
hours, yeah.
39 seconds. Bing.
No, 49 for me.
50,
I'm the winner.
51, 52.
My thing just says 2 hours and 30
It's because you
minutes.
didn't join in for a while.
Yeah.
I had to babysit, okay?
That's
Get it.
fine, I'm just saying.
Stretches.
I was actually playing video games, so...
Everybody wake up. Everybody stand up and do some stretches.
Oh my gosh.
1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, I'm awake.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is, in terms of indie games, we seem to be entering that weird, like, really late Super Nintendo, sort of like mid-PlayStation era. Like, there was sort of a break after the PlayStation came out, but like late Super Nintendo games started to get to the point where they were like, we know the system well enough, and we've done everything there is to do that are basics, so let's get into really weird, like, battle systems and stuff. And then PlayStation came around and they like, we don't know what 3D is. So it took like a couple of years before they started getting into that, and then you end up with games like Chrono Cross. Like, or what was it, Vagrant Story?
Oh, I did try to play Vagrant Story once. That confused me. It's like the battle system is like, you have like a sphere comes out around you, don't you?
Yeah. Okay, yes,
Yeah,
that is exactly.
confusing as hell.
And
confusing.
because all that I remember is I got pretty far in the game, and I had this spear that, like, it had a really huge circle, and I was really good at timing, because it had that stupid system that was like, if you tap it at the exact same second, you get a bonus hit, and you just keep going. And I could get like 68 hits, and I was just destroying bosses.
That sounds crazy.
And but the thing was that it finally got to the point where it wasn't doing anything, and I had to switch weapons, and I could not, for the life of me, get to work with another weapon. But that's the thing that I'm like, indie games are getting to the point where you can't, like, you have to have something to your game that's cool. And
yeah, you have to do something different, basically, to stand out.
yeah,
because there are so many games.
yeah, exactly. And like it's turning into that sort of like mid PlayStation, like we're taking the same exact game, but we're tacking on this weirdo stupid system. And like it's just kind of, I don't know. There are some games that look good, and there are other ones that like they sound good in concept, but they seem very like, I don't know. Like not every game needs a crafting system. I'm sorry.
Mm.
But how will I make pickaxe?
Actually, Magicite is a game that I guess is coming out on Steam. And if you saw my post about, I went to Indienomicon, a local indie development group thing. I posted about it on GameCola.net, gaming outside the mainstream.
Oh, I've heard of them. I think I've been there once or twice to post something.
But basically the developer was there like talking about his game, and there were a lot of cool things, and like I did like you would like pick up sticks and you would put two sticks together to make a plank, and then like a plank plus another stick would make like a sword, but two planks and something else would like make an axe. I don't know, it seemed kind of neat, but then at the same time I'm like, do I really care enough? Like, would I rather play this game or just go to Minecraft, you know?
I don't get the whole crafting thing. I mean, the kind of games I played when I was a kid, you wouldn't craft a pickaxe. You'd find a pickaxe.
Yeah, and then you'd
pick a pickaxe up.
Yeah, you would buy pickaxes, and then you would mine some ore, which you would then, craft into something.
I'm saying more like Doom. Oh, I found a chainsaw. Neat.
Yeah, I'm talking like.
You think I'm gonna craft a chainsaw?
Someone just dropped.
I don't think I've ever thought crafting as anything other than tacked on in games. And it's especially so in Dead Rising 2. It's like, it was cool to begin with, but then I thought, what's the point of... Yeah, I get it, nails, baseball bat, nail bat, funny. Okay, what was the actual point in this?
Hilarious.
There's like one Flash game that's like basically like combine two things until you combine all the things. So like you combine like, what is it? You combine like plant and water and you get marsh. And then like you combine marsh and fire and you get like, I don't know, soot.
Sounds like the double doodle games or whatever.
And like you just keep going on until you can combine more things with more things. But not everything works, but you'll get stuff that's like, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head anymore.
Okay. I do want to interject with more Homestuck, because there is because they're playing a game called Spurb, and like part of it involves being able to like make stuff, and you get little codes and you make things out of it, and then you can take other items and like combine items and mix and match. And with every new character that gets into the game, they start flipping out with like, oh man, I'm gonna take my iPhone and my sunglasses and I'm gonna make iPhone glasses. And then they just make some of the greatest things. He takes like a pogo stick and a hammer, like a sledgehammer and a pogo stick, and makes a pogo hammer. And then he puts like an iron together with that, like ironing your clothes iron.
Yeah.
And he makes like a pogo ironing hammer. There's some pretty good things. Like it is, and that's the thing, is that like they have a lot of that early on, and then it kind of fades out, and I lose interest, and then I paid like $20 to kickstart the game, and now I don't care about it.
So, video games.
Yes, they do have they are making a Homestuck game, so it's about video games.
So, video games that aren't about Homestuck.
Pizzerian.
Yeah, that game looks pretty good, I must say.
Yes, thank you.
You know, that .zip sitting on my computer looks awfully good.
Sorry, and then Paul sent me another list of legitimate like issues with the game. And also, I just keep thinking, like, there are a few things, like, graphically, where, like, the mission ends or whatever, and it just has text that's just like, the mission is over. And, like, I look at other games, and the thing is that most games are made not by programmers, but by designers and artists. So, like, my game, there are certain things that I'm like, I probably should spend a little more time, like, making a fancy, like, graphic for saying, hey, there's a boss battle coming, instead of just having the boss show up.
Warning, warning,
Yeah.
boss is approaching.
Yeah, so,
Stats, its weak point, that sort of thing.
yeah.
Do a House of the Dead book comes up. Weak point is this. Thanks, game. If you already know what this creature is, why is it in his book? If the creature is just being introduced for the first time to the main character, why does the creature exist in the notebook? Can you explain it to me, House of the Dead, please? Can you explain it to me?
Yeah. I did like
No.
in Breath of Fire games where, like, the first time you fight something, it just has a question mark, but then after you've killed it before, like, you know how much hit points it has.
In Mario, what is it? Mario Thousand Year Door, you had Goombella, and you could use one of her turns as your partner. You could use one of her turns to tell you all the information about the enemy, and if it was like a recurring enemy,
Yeah.
then you'd keep that information from battle to battle. Like
Whoa, that's good.
And then, like, you could do it for a boss, but then if you didn't do it for a boss, you could, like, and to the point, because, like, one of the sort of, like, 100% completion things you could do is get the page in the book for every single enemy. So what they did is, if you didn't want to waste a turn on the boss figuring out what its health was and stuff, you could go back to this one place and find those pages so that you could complete it in your book, which was nice of them.
Yeah.
I hate how you have to do it in the Tales of games. Usually you have to get an item that's like a magnifying glass and waste a turn using that item on the enemy.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, like, Final Fantasy II, where they had the spell Peek or whatever, or Peep, sorry, and it would tell you, like, the weaknesses and how much hit points and stuff. But, like, when you're in the middle of a boss battle and you start out and you're like, I want to see what the boss's weakness is so, like, I can tell what spells to use. And you're, like, really in the middle of this battle, and then suddenly it just flashes by and it's like, oh, this is his name, this is HP, this is his weakness, goodbye. It's like, wait, I forgot that I even cast that, like, 2 minutes ago.
One thing I did like about Final Fantasy VII was that after using the scan skill, if you had the little dialogue box that comes up when you press select, if you had that enabled, you could see an updated health count for that boss or enemy.
Oh.
So you didn't have to scan again.
Interesting.
I mean, I did like that, but I'm not sure if that came back in for 8 or not. Weird thing about Final Fantasy VIII, though, was that you could cast scan on your party members and get, like, the full information of what equipment they have equipped and a bio for that character.
Weird.
Yeah, it's like, why would you let me scan my own party member? And why would you go to the effort of giving me their backstory when I do in a battle?
Yeah.
But they added that in for some reason.
I mean, in a way, it's kind of
just
cool.
because Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe learn something about their parents or something.
Speaking of Easter eggs...
What?
Did you say something?
I was just going to say that we're having an amazing time trying to decide which fan fiction we should do.
I wasn't paying
I like
attention.
how you and I are pretty, you and I, Joe, are just like, yeah, let's do this one, and then Jeff's just like, I kind of want to do the other one.
Oh, okay. If VLR is going to be, like, really story intensive. Then...
Yeah.
Okay.
Darn.
I remember I did a Hacks and Slash once. I didn't even bother to listen to it back because it was really embarrassing.
It was great. I mean,
Did you do the Sonic one? I think
yeah, the Sonic one.
Yeah.
Were you darkest part of the storm?
With the scene ripped out of SpongeBob in the
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, I was dying because of that.
We discovered
so dreadful. So dreadful.
I made my friend listen to that after we finished it, and she was laughing so hard.
What I don't get is that most of these fan fictions tend to just be a bunch of kids messing about, and then that's it. It's fan fiction, and then we have to read it. It's horrible.
I think this
All right,
podcast
you calling it off? Then.
Wait, can we make it to 3:33:33?
How
I
much
can
longer
make it
is
to-
that?
I can make it to 3:33:33.
Thank you.
How long is it until then?
8 minutes.
Can I
Yeah,
go
sure.
get a
Okay.
food?
Sat back down. What we going to talk about?
Homestuck.
I'm gonna go get a food real quick.
Homestuck.
Just to bug you.
Why would you talk about Homestuck? It's something I don't understand.
We can talk about. Okay, so the original Famicom had a modem attachment, and I just love the concept that in like 1987 or whatever. What are you doing, Anna?
Nothing.
Like,
Sorry.
but why would you go on the internet in like the late 80s?
Because it's new and exciting. I heard you can get government conspiracies on there. Aliens, the truth is out there.
Actually, okay.
Oh wait, no. X-Files would have started that.
There's another thing that I liked. Apparently, for the Super Nintendo or for the Super Famicom, they had cartridges that you could take to like certain stores, and there was a little console there that you put it in, and you would get a new game.
Yes.
And just the concept of that, and I'm like, we missed out on that. Like we think, I mean, you live in Britain, but like. We always think of America as like being such a great country, like we're Americans, we're number one, USA, and I'm like, I could have had video games that I took to a store and got a new game. We missed out. How have we lived?
Nintendo did a similar thing in China. Are you aware of the recently laxed but the original laws on like consoles in China?
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Nintendo, to get around it, created a system called the IQUE.
Yeah.
And basically, it's a handheld system that you can download N64 games onto.
Okay.
It's so cool. It's like one of the coolest things ever. You'd go to a store and you could download Ocarina of Time onto it.
See, and like, I guess the thing is that I find that kind of stuff exciting, and then I realize that now those kinds of things are no longer feasible because we have like mobile devices. So like, why would anyone buy a console that can do what a phone does except that it doesn't make calls?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that just seems weird to me is that the Vita, to a certain extent, depending on the model you have, and the 3DS, that they're not phones.
Yeah.
Also, my iPad has a microphone on it, 2 cameras. It runs all these applications that the iPhone can, but it's not an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yet, surely the only thing stopping it is one small piece of equipment inside it and some software.
Yeah. And well, but then again, like the N-Gage.
I bought an N-Gage once.
Oh, wow.
After the whole fad was over, like, you know what, I'm just going to download games onto it and play the N-Gage games, because you know what, I want to play them. I managed to get one downloaded game to work, and then the memory stick was stuck in the N-Gage and I couldn't get it out.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was stuck with Sonic N. And do you want to know what Sonic N is?
What is it?
It's a really, really shoddy port of Sonic Advance. And because you were expected to play it with the N-Gage up vertically, you can't see what you're running into.
Oh, yeah, because...
Until you run into it.
Because you're going so fast.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
So it's
Are we still
so
going here?
dreadful.
Yeah, well, you got 4 minutes.
Michael's asking if we're all ready.
Oh,
Alright, hold on.
hold them for me. Hold them off. We gotta make it to 3:33:33.
Gotta make it to 3:33:33. 3:33:33. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Slight echo. It sounded awesome.
Duet. See, and that's the weird thing is when I finally put this into Audacity, the tracks are slightly off from what I heard originally. And it's also very weird because generally I will say things before people respond to them or whatever. Like, or someone, I will respond to something before somebody said it, like very slightly. Because I guess it's recording the tracks like mine comes across immediately, but yours it waits for.
Ooh.
So spooky. Or maybe it's because it records the two at the same time, I guess is the deal. Is that it waits to record mine until yours has been written. And so it puts mine...
Dude. You have now confused me. This is chicken and the egg, my friend.
Don't worry.
Which came first, my question or your response?
Oh. Because, okay, there's so many times where I start laughing at something and the joke hasn't been said yet. And
I find myself laughing at things that haven't been said anyway.
We've only got 2 minutes. Come on, guys, we can do this.
People are in the hacks and slash are getting food anyways.
Okay, good. Good, we have plenty of time then. I can't see anymore because you removed me from the thing, sadly. I wasn't paying attention anyway.
Tomorrow I will load up my Animal Crossing town for the first time properly since January when I lost my 3DS. Well, actually, since October when I stopped playing New Leaf. I suppose my townsfolk will be expecting lots of hugs and apology presents from me.
You went on a sabbatical.
I went on vacation to a faraway place known as Pokemon X and Y.
Sorry, I was just thinking about, like, what kind of a guilt trip that is. Like, oh, you haven't been playing
I
again.
felt really bad. The immediacy that I loaded the game up and my character was there with bed-sheveled hair, like, all over the place. And the mailman comes along and says, "You've got 17 items of mail." It's like, okay.
Well, because...
And then just townsfolk. I have a sheep who just said to me, "I haven't seen you for a while. Have you been on vacation?
The thing
You
is...
must catch up sometime." And I'm thinking, I feel so bad.
Okay, I used to have this, like, talking dog toy when I was, like, 5. And all I remember about it was feeling so horrible because it talks. And then if you don't play with it for a while, it goes like, "Oh, I'm lonely." And then it, like, sits there for, like, the next, like, 5 minutes. Like, every 30 seconds, it'll just go, Like, it sounds like a sad puppy. And I'm like, I'm 5 years old. I feel terrible.
Oh, no.
Oh, but wait. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 3:33. We're done. That was it. We did it. We made it to 3:33. Congratulations. Yay.
But with the dead air, silence removed, and other things, it won't end up 3:33.
Yeah, especially being cut into 2. They can't tell anything.
So actually, what was the point in even carrying it on this long? Who's going to know apart from us?
Me.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go.
From us.
Bye, everyone.
We gotta shift
Bye.
into our other podcast.
Have fun, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Have
See
fun.
ya.
Night.
Yep.
Of course I'm going to grip onto it and complain about it, because it's something I don't understand. It's new and weird to me, and I don't like it.